and sustainability. We are ATP. So join the voter revolt and go to AmericasThirdParty.com and interact with nightly video chat. I'm David Sponheim. Good evening. Hello, welcome. We are processing a lot of information right now. Tonight is Friday night. A lot of you have worked the week, or many of you just sat in your comfy chair and ate tortilla chips and played games. Either way, this is the end of the official week, the beginning of your weekend, a time to enjoy life, freedom, and that's what we're all about, freedom. Freedom for you to enjoy your life, personal freedoms involving protections against unlawful search and seizure, your rights to surf the internet with net neutrality without having to be watched constantly by the NSA, and our ability to do whatever we want in our own daily life without having mandates by the Democrats, taxes, forcing us to constantly be on that treadmill of life, paying Uncle Sam constantly when we need money in our expendable income to survive in this economy. You know you do. So we've got a really good plan to fix this country. We've got a great flat tax that will only tax people with incomes above $100,000. And it will also tax evenly to businesses, individuals, even nonprofits will pay 10% on income above $100,000. And we also want to bundle that with a fair tax of 10% on non-food items. And that'll erase the entire income tax nightmare a lot of you are facing. We've got a situation where we got 77,000 pages of tax code that rich people use to maneuver their way around paying any taxes at all. And Barack Obama never solved that problem. He also never solved the healthcare crisis, where rising costs of healthcare is killing families, literally. I mean, the chances of dying are increasing every day when you go to a hospital. And the chances of your family going bankrupt is still very real, despite this blah, blah, blah discussion the Democrats put together called Obamacare, which is really destroying everyone economically. They say people are paying 40% more for their thank you. 40% more for their insurance now than they were before Obamacare. I was looking at one of the most hideous things I've ever seen. Animals being literally ground up with an industrial cattle grinder. Somebody sent me a link to this. I'm not going to show it to you because it's that disturbing. It literally, they're crunching up the entire animal and turning it into some sort of a slime which they put out in food product. I just don't understand how that's even possible. But that's what's going on. Mass production of animals. When you eat your beef byproducts now, we've got warnings on the labels saying that you may be getting cancer. I don't believe that's the case. And I'm not reading off a computer prompter at all. I'm reading the chat. I'm not here to challenge Obama. I'm here to challenge his legacy. And people like Donald Trump are just like Obama, egomaniacs, people that don't have the ability to negotiate with the right or communicate on the left. Ironically, Barack Obama never had any serious questioning from the Democrats. And for 7 years, our country has kind of languished in this la-la land where we believe that if you question Barack Obama, you're a racist. Now, we've got a guy who's taking advantage of that by stealing my ideas. Donald Trump, we know, came into our room in 2012. We know because he came in on Ustream. Nobody uses Ustream. And we saw him come in as Donald Trump. And I'm sure we can subpoena the records to find this, but he grabbed my 1,000-mile fence idea and has been using that as his. And we've had this out for 8 years. We are taking a sober look at immigration, whereas he takes a reactionary look and jumps all over it and wants to get ID cards for Muslims. You saw that? That's the most recent thing. He wants to have Muslims ID'd. And then he wants to set up a deportation force to remove all these people from our country. At the very least, it's like Hitler. Worse than that, it creates a bigger police state, which I want to lessen and make less obvious to the American people. I don't want speed guns at every traffic stop, checking you going 5 miles per hour over the speed limit. I don't want people racially stereotyped and profiled and then beaten up because they're black, white, Hispanic, or whatever. I'm running against the legacy of mistakes that an egomaniac has made named Barack Obama. And I'm running against a couple people that have incredible legacies of dynastic self-importance, Hillary and Donald. Both of them think that they're dynasties in their own mind. And we've got to break this cycle where the American people are never given a chance to get into politics. We've got to break this cycle where all of you guys are kept from the discussion and communication with people who are in politics or in government. So that's why we do a show every single night for the past 7 years, except for Sunday, a day of rest. I was never tasered, and I don't have any fear of cops brutalizing me because I've never done anything wrong. And I have no worry that if we were ever attacked, that I wouldn't defend myself, because I could easily be, extremely prejudicial in defending myself and Sarah. So I'm not worried about anything. I'm basically trying to do the right thing on a daily basis. And there's nothing wrong with an average American running for president at all. All right, so we are going to take a look at a couple of ideas that we have put together here at America's Third Party. One of them is an ocean pipeline project to solve the water crisis in California and around the world. And what we're proposing is a way to actually desalinate water in modules like this. Now, these modules can be put up in less than a few hours. They can stack 20 high on a flatbed truck, an 18-wheeler, or on a rail car. We can send thousands of these modules mass-produced to a location like California and start desalinating water without any fossil fuel whatsoever. The system works on evaporation. And I'm not showing all the elements here that will create the evaporation process. I'm just showing you the basics here. But water, when it's moving, will definitely evaporate rather quickly. And we will be getting dewdrops of fresh water out of an entire bath of seawater right here. This is not new material to a lot of people who've been watching it, but this is new material to some people who've never seen this idea. The idea is something that can go viral, that we can create a lot of these things and also send them around the world. We can export them, and we can encourage other countries to build things like this. Now, this is not new material, of course. I've been doing this for 8 years. But at the same time, if you don't know about some of the flagship plans that our party comes to the table with, you won't be prepared to talk about how we're going to create jobs, fresh water, new civilization, essentially. Areas that are currently arid without water can easily be a place where you could have a home. And you could tap into this pipeline and become a farmer even and grow things. So when you talk about jobs, the best thing you can talk about is our homestead renewal plan. That is the way to create jobs, because what we're going to do is take houses that are dilapidated and fix them up. Now, you may say this is not a new idea either, but these are the ideas that are viral in nature that could easily propel this nation forward and help gentrify neighborhoods that are collapsing right now across the nation. And we can bring in a brand new rooftop solar revolution where we can create solar panels for as low as $1 a watt. $1 a watt. Right now they're like $2 a watt. Okay, we're going to remove you from the show. Anybody who makes threats or in any way demoralizes us will either be purged or banned in the show. I just want you to know that. Okay, thank you. All right, we're all processing information unrelated to the ideas that we come to the table with here at America's Third Party. We are processing information that, we're getting tired of you too, that is really kind of disturbing. our country is seemingly jockeying itself into position to create an attack on Syria. It's been going on for some time. This positioning is now on the heels of a Paris attack, which many people who are not connected at the hip to the mainstream media are questioning the validity of this. And then today there's another Mali hotel attack. Islamist group says it shares responsibility. This is a series of controlled propaganda stories that are emanating on some of the controlled media sites like Google, which incidentally is created by computers. Very few people work on this site. Computers write this site, if you didn't know that. But now they're claiming that this group, an Islamist militant group, is responsible for this, or claiming responsible for this attack on the Radisson Blu Hotel in Mali's capital. 21, I believe, dead in the siege. 20 dead, at least 20. Okay. There are not a lot of metals in this seawater pipeline, by the way. Nope. In fact, most of the seawater pipeline is done with HDPE plastic and polycarbonate. There's hardly any metal at all involved in the pipeline. The nice thing about HDPE, it has a 50-year lifespan with seawater, as well as anything like UV protection. 50 years is significant. Anyone who claims that by denying this is anything other than a legitimate terrorist act is not questioning or enhancing terrorism. We're only getting to the bottom of why our country would jump all over this as if there was a real terrorist threat. I think you need a little bit of work adjusting your questions. Try to use intelligence when asking questions. When I say processing information, I don't mean surfing the web. No, I mean gathering information from all sources, including your TV set. Watching news is certainly beneficial to get a rounded view. All right. I believe that there was a Paris attack. I do. I also believe that there were very few cases of evidence permeating or circulating the media. We've only seen about 4 different photographs or videos in total. There's some ancillary videos that are a little bit odd and weird, like people hiding in a cafe from a remote surveillance camera, a gunman walking around looking bewildered and disoriented, cops making weird hand signals, which showed that they weren't even official SWAT. And we've had people in the special forces who actually are members of our group here, who actually come in, they're former U.S. military, who said that these guys didn't look like SWAT members at all. And we've had a lot of questions about the lack of evidence, the names themselves. That's got to be the biggest glaring red herring here. The names themselves have not been released. Other than 5 or 6 people, there's no site where you can actually look at the 120 decedents or the 129 decedents. They've only got 5 or 6 people that they're profiling. So there's no real information about the names. So how do the people who lost their loved one even know that their loved one is dead? Go look yourself. You won't find any long list. Show me. Bring it in, man. I asked somebody for a link last night, and all I got were 5 separate photographic essays of people in witness protection that have been pulled out. Yeah. Show it to me, man. Show me the list of 129. I will Google it right now. Let's take a look. Okay. Names of dead in Paris attack. And you say it's on YouTube? Really? Here we go. Here's a classic case where
vibrant and energetic.
they show 5 people. victims of the Paris attacks. They profile these people. I like their modeling photos that they use too. I wonder if Jill Greenberg worked on that list of actors. Yeah, become a real username before you Google. Here's another alleged victim, Michael Lafort, design professor. Yeah, I'm still looking for the names, all of the names. 100 reported dead, yeah. Where's the names?
C News Special Report. Now reporting, George Stephanopoulos.
Here's a total
And we are
pundit.
coming back on the air right now with more on that horrifying night in Paris.
Yeah, these people, they are the puppeteers, and they're spinning a message that you're supposed to believe.
Was going on. 2 more attacks.
I looked at the footage. I'm waiting for cell phone verification, people taking photos during the soccer match, yet not one person sent a cell phone image to Twitter confirming that the blast was heard inside the soccer stadium. Now, the soccer stadium holds 80,000 people, but nobody's seen any actual cell phone uploaded of the event. You're telling me no one was videotaping this other than the actual filming by ABC News? I know, but the recording of the bomb blast was not confirmed with any other cell phone coming from that stadium. Nobody else has confirmed this. ESPN was the only one that actually sent that video in. Aloha to you. I don't know about, is there a snack bar in Hawaii that you go to? Aloha snack bar. The war against the white man, let's talk about that. What's happening to average white people that are fleeing the Muslim attacks going on right now? And our government, I need to remind you that our government, Obama, Hillary, were complicit in sending $500 million recently, your tax dollars, to support Muslim rebels that literally are killing off white people, Caucasians, who happen to be Christian in Syria. Yeah. Catholic cardinals are warning Muslims are intent on breeding out Christians, white males. Muslim rape in Europe is epidemic, but no media. Here's a Christian nurse that was gang raped and killed in this picture, and I can't even show it to you. Wow. Yeah, thank you. All right, so no trail of information whatsoever on the internet verifying these minimal amounts of pieces of evidence that we've gotten. They are fleeing you. Are you laughing? 340? What are you laughing at? How many do you know who heard and believed there was an explosion? I don't know. I mean, I've only had this one audio glitch, and I was watching this clip, and I honestly did not see the soccer people react to the blast. I did not see the soccer people react to the blast when it was going on. It was not like they interrupted their play. They continued playing.
Right there as the game was going on. 2 more attacks.
And he stopped it right there because they just kept playing. It was like no big deal. So I'm not really sure a blast occurred. It could have easily been matted into the sound of the stadium itself. You think the sound was edited in? Because they show you a picture of people walking around. It's not like they interrupted their gameplay and went like this. Remember when the Secret Service guy was ordered to stand down when JFK was assassinated? They told the whole Secret Service staff to stand down, and one guy was going like this. Remember that? Like, what the hell is going on? How come we're not protecting JFK's limousine? Well, you'd think that soccer people would go, what was that? With their hands up or something. Did they stop playing, or is it your thought that made you think that they stopped playing? Because they only showed maybe 25 seconds of that. Go ahead and look yourself. You've probably got a record of that. All right, so what's going on in the news? Let's take a look. The Mali hotel attack we talked about. UN approves a resolution urging action against the Islamic State. This is to be expected because this has been a UN-approved operation from the start. They're embedding themselves in our government so that they can slowly take over our nation too. They're opening our borders and allowing illegal Syrian aliens to come in. So the UN is approving the resolution because they've got plans for you too. They're working collaterally with our two-party system to control our future as a country. And because you never bothered to develop a third party or challenge the two-party system, you'll be sucked into that same vortex that all people are going, which ultimately is going to be the end of our nation. It's really sad too, because if we don't see the handwriting on the wall, we're not going to be able to stop it. I want to see real images. I want to see it much more, not just one photograph of the concert hall released. There's no other photograph, just that one. And it looked like they smeared blood around in a circle and then pretended like these people were all... And none of the other bodies that were on the ground had any blood coming from them. It's kind of strange. Yeah, Luis had his first baby born. Next week he's starting gynecology oncology. Luis, do you have a girlfriend? I mean, it's just an odd question, but... Okay. Sure, they did. Sure. Yeah, they did. I am not delusional. I'm multidimensional. You're an idiot for saying that. Anybody can run for president. You can run for president if you want. Okay, I'm 60 years old, Mr. Mike says, and I'm tired. All I could do is vote. Yeah. You worked your ass off and got hurt. Well, we need to get a third party to speak for the people that haven't had their voice heard their whole life. That's one reason. Let's focus on the green movement. You want people, Dave, let's focus attention on the green movement. Okay. What green movement? Yeah. Could you explain, if there is a green movement, I'd love to know about it. All I've heard about are the Democrats who sit there and do nothing with the Gulf of Oil spill. They poured Corexit on it so it sunk to the bottom and now is poisoning all the marine life. The Democrats never talk about Fukushima, the deadly radiation that's killing off our intertidal zones. So exactly what green movement are you talking about? I don't believe there is a green movement. I support a legalization of marijuana. I think that's a central thing to our movement. So when you talk about our movement, let's talk about our movement and what we're trying to do to help the environment. Because I'd much rather talk about all the great innovations I'm going to create to clean the water and the air and deliver solutions across the nation to people who are going to be homeless. We have a situation growing where people are going to be evicted. We want people to be able to make money on their own, so growing marijuana recreationally could lead to a cash crop if you were to sell it to a retail establishment and pay the tax. I mean, make it so simple for people to actually, make marijuana and medicinals and edibles that our country would definitely profit from all of that. So legalization is central to our campaign. I don't know of any green movement you're referring to, because they don't do anything. Make Saturday Social Saturday, since anti-war is a social issue, it just matches. Okay, yeah, Wednesday. Well, social subjects have been talked about on Wasteful Wednesday, but maybe you're right. Social Saturday. I like that. Yeah, I like that recommendation, 839. I'll talk to Sarah about it. We'll start calling it Social Saturday. It's fun, too, to be social. And we could play more fun music and have fun talking about fun stuff. Like how they're pushing us toward war with Syria. Okay, whatever. No, I don't want people burned out on weed all the time. No. And I'm not going to purge what you said. I just believe that if we don't have a solution that's non-addictive to people who are drug addicts, like methamphetamines is very addictive, Cocaine is very addictive. Heroin is very addictive. Cigarettes are very addictive. They say it's almost as addictive as heroin. Alcohol, very addictive, debilitating. Most accidents are caused by alcohol. But marijuana, not physically addicting at all. No one's ever died from marijuana. In fact, they found recently that legalization would actually prevent cancer. They discovered certain qualities in the cannabinoids that are in marijuana that actually reduce the cell size of tumors in brain cancer. I mean, and this is not something that you could contest. It's now irrefutable. The government supports that. This is not a comedy show. I am a humorist at best. I am not a comedian. I couldn't remember a joke and tell you, the one about the donkey lady from Mexico. I couldn't do that. It's not in my makeup or my framework. I am an interactive, live humorist, and I bring up humor in things. That's all I do. I'm just trying to share everything in a different perspective. All right. No, it's not a parody show. You are a parody of yourself. Where is the proof of what? The donkey lady from Mexico? There is none. It's an urban myth. It was always an urban myth. There was never a donkey lady from Mexico. Oh, about brain cancer? Yeah, let me show you. I'll Google it. Madrid study. I have so many things on our link library. You can go there and just do a search. But Madrid study on cannabis and brain tumors. Let me pull it up for you. Here it is. ABC News, active ingredient in marijuana. I mean, is that mainstream enough for you? Kills brain cells. Brain cancer cells, thank you. Little play on words there. It doesn't get more mainstream than this, guys. Let me give you the link. Yeah, that's as close as you're going to get to mainstream endorsement. No, I'm giving you things you believe in because you believe everything you see in the mainstream media and you don't think anything on the internet is true. There you go. Check it out. Well, let's be clear. New research out of Spain suggests that THC, the active ingredient in marijuana, appears to prompt the death of brain cells, cancer cells. So your regular cells are doing good. It's like, oh, okay. But your brain cancer cells that some people with brain cancer don't want to have because it kills them, is benefiting from the smoking of marijuana. I met a woman. I shouldn't say I met her. I know of a woman because I know a friend of mine had a good friend who was a pot smoker for years. Not really, just casually for like 10 years. And then she turned to Jesus. And somehow she decided that Jesus didn't want her to smoke pot. No, I'm not part of any secret society or anything like that. Well, it turns out that she didn't smoke any marijuana when she turned to Jesus. And then she developed brain cancer. And 1 year later died. True story. Jesus didn't save her. The lack of marijuana in her system ended up... She might have had a genetic predisposition that was held back by the marijuana. That's possible. So I'm not embellishing anything. This is a true story. I have a friend who would verify that. Let me get him on the phone. No, actually, I don't want to get him involved because he likes his anonymity. All right, so there you go. Big link. Maybe you'll believe that, huh? Mr. Mike is dealing with... he's just going to play out my life and die. Like I said, I'm tired. Mr. Mike is tired, folks. And Scissor Fight has a link showing marijuana for veterans with PTSD is finally going to be legal. Thank you. I met a couple people with PTSD that are really benefiting from legalization here in Washington. And I've met people online who have PTSD, who are former military, that are now dealing with the awful memories of killing people. You guys must be going through some really heavy stuff, but they're getting relief from smoking pot. believe it or not. Now, these are the guys that have been in the fields of poppy out there defending the warlords that Barack Obama and the CIA have been profiting from in Afghanistan, in case you didn't know. And this is not something that Hillary will even discuss, or Donald Trump will even discuss. For some reason, he's never discussed it. But our Afghanistan presence has been mostly about keeping warlords selling poppy in business. And the production of marijuana, the production of opium is really endangering our population. I mean, heroin's getting cheap, and it's, like I said earlier, it's extremely addictive. So legalization of marijuana will help alleviate some of that. Pulling our troops out of war-torn areas, which we don't need to be involved in outreached areas in Afghanistan, would be another big move in the right direction. Getting our nation to start realizing that it doesn't have an end game in the Middle East, and figuring out a strategy to help the populated regions, which is what my goal is. Tomorrow I'll be discussing our weapons-free safe zones that we want to create in the key areas, the populated areas of Afghanistan and of course Iraq. A real plan. This is a statistic that is real. It shows you the growth of opium increased rapidly all the way up through 2013, and then it went up 17% higher right here. Like 17% higher by 2015. Bumper crops. So that guy sitting out there has the right to smoke some marijuana. He really does. He earned it. You know, they're not allowed to talk about their involvement with the opium that went down. Hi Sir Waffles. Thank you for posting links. Appreciate it, man. They're not allowed to talk about the opium that they have to guard. I'm able to talk about it because I'm not U.S. military. Many people who are jumping all over this right-wing extremist Donald Trump, who clearly is out for Nazi-like behavior of forcing people who are Muslim to have ID cards. You guys don't understand. You cannot promote Donald Trump or any other candidate here. I'm going to give you a warning right now, Damisk. But don't do that here if you want to be in the show. I'll ban you. Bear in mind, Donald Trump stealing my idea about the 1,000-mile border fence is one thing. But now he's making some really weird accusations about other Republicans. And one guy at the lowest end of the totem pole, Kasich, he's running a Republican campaign against Donald Trump. Donald Trump says he's going to sue him for whatever. He just says he's going to sue him because it's fun. That's what Donald Trump said. When the guy made some solid complaints about Donald Trump turned around and just, yeah. He's going to sue anybody who questions him, he's going to sue. This egomaniac just destroyed the Latino vote for the Republican Party. If he wins the ticket, which is highly unlikely, he's going to not have Latino voters. He's not going to have Muslim voters. He's not going to have women voters because he hated on obviously, Megyn Kelly is not a woman who's bleeding from her eyes. And he's not going to get lesbian voters either. And he might not get voters who are just moderate Democrats that would rather have Hillary. So you got to understand, what he's doing is extremely dangerous, not only to his future as a candidate, but also to his life. El Chapo wants his head. Has put $1 million on his head for what he said about Mexican people. Now, I'm not here to talk about El Chapo, but seriously, I'm not jealous of anybody. And this is your last warning, Damisk. You will be removed from the show completely if you continue talking about him in a favorable way. If you want to talk about him being a corporate pig who had 4 bankruptcies, feel free to talk about him all you want. About how he borrowed money from the Fed, and how he's a shill for the Fed and the Zionists that want to control the world. Go ahead and talk about that if you want, okay? But don't talk about him in a positive way. Thank you. Because I have literally carved out a little niche on the internet, and that's all I've got. I don't have mainstream media attention every day like he does for free, okay? All right, thank you. Whew. All right, you're out of here. You deal with it. Our country will never bend over and turn into a Nazi police state with a Nazi running our country. If that happens, a lot of people are not going to be real happy with this guy. When he said he wanted ID badges for Muslims and he wants to deport all of them, you got some issues, buddy. We will take a strong stance against the illegal immigration problem, and I have guaranteed I will not allow refugees into our country at all. Until we get that border fence positioned, a 1,000-mile border fence, we will not be allowing any more immigration except through our fast-track naturalization process, which we created to build immigration plans outside the country. Every U.S. embassy will have a naturalization process which people can go to their U.S. embassy and discuss and pay the fee that we're going to charge to do this. We'll be giving free education in English, history, and government, and you'll get a chance to take the 6-question test and pass it, hopefully, and then become a dual citizen. But that's the only immigration we'll allow into our country after the fence is built. All right. No mold at all. I don't have a trailer. I have a modular home, and I take immaculate care of it. Thank you. No, my hair is not green. It's brown. Thank you. You want to donate some money? Well, let me give you a link. We haven't had a lot of donations, so maybe you're one of the recent donations we would welcome. My hair is not green. It is actually blonde. And I personally like the brown color. I think it's the lighting that you're looking at here. Let's change the color of the lighting. That'll help you. Because obviously you think I'm wearing green hair. And I wouldn't want to have you, in any way upset about the color of my hair, because obviously that's really important. When our country is very close to war. That better? Dave, how will you help the average American? Well, that homestead renewal plan that we talked about is a really good plan to get housing. You guys will be able to own your own house in 10 years. $500 a month payments will get you a house. In 10 years, you will own a house. And not just any house, a really nice house. Okay, we do, here's our website, by the way. It's AmericasThirdParty.com. And you can check out all of our policies on top of our page, mission, platform. We have all these things that we address, energy options, all kinds of stuff. Global climate change, regionalization. Anyway, we've got a donation button right here. You click that donation button and there it goes to our PayPal. And you're donating to David John Sponheim for President, Committee to Elect David John Sponheim for President. There's a PayPal link directly. Thank you. No donations from non-U.S. citizens. Only U.S. citizens can donate. All right. We are not driven by donations. That's not our primary goal. We're actually here to maintain a presence on the internet without having to rely on finances. We've made a dedication to doing this. Sarah contributes behind the scenes. We have quarterly reports that go to the FEC. You can check me out at fec.gov. Let me give you my whole name so you can look it up. And you can see that we are 100% compliant with all FEC regulations. Nope, she's in the other room. She's resting. She'll be in a little bit later. She works a pretty full schedule. David, speaking of freedom, when you're elected president, will you legalize prostitution? We could set up a system similar to Canada. They allow prostitution, but can only be arranged through phone or internet. No streetwalkers are allowed. I like it, 608, yeah. That would fit very well with my decriminalization plan for prostitution. Legalizing prostitution, in my mind, for me, it's decriminalization. Because legalizing it sends a message to young people that you should become, a prostitute. And that's not something I want to send that message to. Has Jared committed to having AIDS? Is this a news story? I don't know. Can anyone confirm that Jared has AIDS? I know that he got 15 years for his possession of child pornography, I believe, that he pled guilty on. I give her a back rub every night, Busy. Yep. So you got a Persian cat with runny eyes, labored breathing, and difficulty eating food because a Persian cat's squish face. So if your Persian cat has a squish face, thanks Tony, then she may suffer from this genetic abnormality. Okay. The cat may be chipped. I'm not sure what's going on with that Dr. Sausage. You've got the weirdest links. I know you're trying to compete with the other two link people in our show, but your stuff is too outrageous for me to put on the show. It breaches all sense of normality. Good job. Obama says the Syrian refugees are no bigger threat to U.S. than tourists. He accuses Republican presidential candidates of stoking fears. No, I agree with the House here. The House, by the way, the Republican-led House is saying they're not going to let these refugees in unless they have a series of serious vetting, much more serious than a standard immigration form. The House is willing to compromise, but here we go again. This president doesn't compromise at all. Well, let's be clear. President Obama said Thursday that Syrian refugees are no more dangerous to the U.S. than tourists. Overwhelming numbers of Syrians who are applying for the entry to the U.S. They're children, women, and families. No, they're mostly men. And that's just not true. A majority of governors now are opposing Mr. Obama's plan. The number's reached over 24 now, folks. As you know, I live in Washington State, the little Soviet Union here, where these commie Democrats want to push their agenda of Syrian immigration big time in my area. I'm totally against it to the point where I haven't checked my donations yet. I'm going to check it. I'll be checking that in a little bit. Thank you very much, though, if you donated. Yeah, we were responsible. Our nation was responsible for creating this crisis in Syria. Why would we open our door and doubly ramify the error of our judgment? We have a problem with these potential jihadists coming over here and creating a jihad of their own locally. We've got enough problems with people who are forming camps, encampments of jihadist activity in our country. A couple of them we've noted on our show. Well, anybody can donate as long as they're a U.S. citizen. Doesn't matter who. Well, I'll check if the donations are coming in. I mean, this is a first. We haven't had a donation in a long time. Thank you for all the concern, because we really do need money to buy cable TV ads, to break through the media barriers that the censorship has put out. We're censored on YouTube. We've got a hit counter lockdown. I can't make any progress on YouTube. Twitter is a little suspicious too, because they've got ISIS forming Twitter accounts, and then other people are having Twitter accounts shut down left and right. I've had a lot of complaints. Patriots are telling me their Twitter accounts are not getting proper coverage. A lot of weird stuff is going on. But yet ISIS seems to get their Twitter accounts up and running whenever they want. A little too convenient, if you ask me. There may be the underbelly of powerful elitists at the World Bank that are trying to create this fear of ISIS. And they may have created ISIS itself. Now, what Rick Santorum has said, the Republican, the only guy who said it, okay, we're still waiting on the donation, though. It hasn't come in yet. Sorry. So So what Rick Santorum is saying is that we have a situation where Barack Obama created ISIS. And I've been saying this for at least since the beginning of this ISIS caliphate thing, 2.5 years ago? I've been saying the same thing, but he's the only guy in the mainstream media that actually said it. I'm glad he was able to get that word out, because the truth is, our country has been funding all kinds of training camps for ISIS in Jordan. CIA operations have been going on. They created this mercenary force to combat the Shiite growth in Iraq when the newly installed government that we put there decided to lean toward Iran and become Shiite-led, which was completely predictable. So our government gathered together the Sunnis that we originally disarmed when Saddam Hussein was deposed of power and eventually killed. We gave all the Sunnis an opportunity to join a new force called ISIL. And I'm not the only person talking about it. Barack Obama, let me show you what he said in his own words, how he's funding the ISIL forces. And this is a glimpse into the real policies that are coming out of the CIA right now and what they're doing to create an environment of terrorism so that they can fund war. It's that simple. We need to wake people up, folks. We've got a limited amount of time, too, because they're ramping up their propaganda campaign. And a lot of Americans are going, oh, they hate Muslims. Well, personally, I have a problem with jihadists. I really do. But I don't hate people who have a religion. Here's Obama saying he's training ISIL forces. Check this out.
Was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
We'll play that again for you.
ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province. Last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province. Was moving too slowly.
All right, so here we have a classic example. It's not edited. No. Nothing's edited. You can see it from the beginning of the clip. You said this last night that it was edited. It's not. It's originally what he said, and nobody from his staff retracted the statement after it went down. Everyone was looking around going, why did he say that?
Was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
All right, now he read that from a script. He reads everything from a script. I played it one more time. I played it 4 times. That's enough. So they're training ISIL forces, and ISIS is fused at the hip with ISIL. And they all started in Iraq. In fact, I have a map dating back about 1.5 years ago, which shows the position of the Iraqi ISIL forces relative to ISIS forces. We've seen an evolution of these forces over time, but yellow is ISIL, green is ISIS, the original. They're all Sunnis, basically. And they basically were creating a counterinsurgency to stop the Shiite-led majority Iraqi government, which we just installed. Okay? They realized they needed to use those troops elsewhere to initiate their campaign to create a war against Syria, because they've been trying to acquire the Syrian land for some time. They want to use it for a pipeline running through Turkey. Hi, nice to see you in the room. So as we see the development of this, isn't it odd that ISIS has not touched Israel's oil pipeline at all? There's been no attack here. So the more we look at ISIS, we're beginning to realize that Israel is connected somehow. And when I found out that the Mossad and the CIA and the French intelligence met 3 weeks before this recent Paris attack, it was a shock to me that the Mossad would have met, in advance of this, that they would have possibly been involved in this. And anyone who thinks that they can come in here and support another candidate will be purged. Thank you. There's no break in the video. It's not doctored. Scissor Fight's an audio expert. He can verify what I'm saying. So anyway, they did this entire operation in Iraq, which was only to keep Iran from gaining a foothold in Iraq. Just about a year and a half after we left the green zone in Iraq, Iran opened an ice cream store selling ice cream to the Iraqis. They worked through the inside, through the Shiite-led religious order, and then our government came up with this alternative plan, and they didn't publicly talk about it, except when Barack Obama released that information about funding ISIL forces. Hey, I'm going to ask you again to not do that, okay? Don't ruin it for the rest of you. Nothing I'm using is edited. Nothing is, no. You guys just can't handle the truth, like Jack Nicholson said. You just can't. I'm questioning things that are just so absolutely opposite to your thought process, because normally you're just watching television and you're thinking, well, gosh, they're telling me everything I'm supposed to hear, and gosh, why would they ever lie to me? You know? They would never lie to me on TV, and gosh, and all those political people are so nice and they care so much about me. So you're literally the victims of programming. So you need to wake up. There's never been a greater time for you to wake up, too. It's now. Otherwise, you and your family will be victimized with yet another war. Unnecessarily fodder for these wars. Henry Kissinger is openly on record talking about how stupid soldiers are. They're just fodder. No, the video was never edited. Scissor Fight was here when it first came out. It was a live feed. I'm a steamroller. Well, you're here to get lap dances? Why are you here if you're getting all kinds of lap dances? And you're here to announce that your millionaire dad is financing your lap dances? Well, there's more to life, man, than getting laid. Yeah, there's a lot more. That's a small component in your life, believe it or not. Nope, no super PACs have funded me. We've never had any outside interference. We are 100% American and true and honest people running for president and vice president. Sarah and I are working diligently to do this despite all odds. So we've had a large group of people over the past 7 years. Nope, we've done it simply because it is coming out of our own show, is coming out of our studio here. It's easy to do this. The cost of an internet connection, that's all it is. And we've been doing this for 7 years because, number one, I used to really bore Sarah when I talked about politics all the time. So now I can talk to you about it instead of hassle her with it, because she wasn't quite politically oriented like I was when we first started this. And I kind of pushed this whole thing forward. But here she is. Sarah is my running mate, and she's here to talk about fun stuff. So how was your evening? Good. Did you have a bite to eat?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we're here in front of the beautiful world. I love this picture. It's one of the best pictures we ever had from spacecraft in orbit. I think we can all agree that mankind has gone into orbit. Let's kind of focus on things we can agree on tonight. And this was a terrible tragedy in Paris. I want to agree on that, too. It's a terrible tragedy in Paris. We're not sure exactly what kind of tragedy, but it's really kind of a bad thing when people are running around talking about how they're going to kill innocent Muslim people, not realizing that people in our country have freedom of religion. And tonight is Freedom Friday, and we talk about freedom on our Freedom Show. Freedom of religion is the reason why this country was formed. We are different than England. We don't prosecute people for racist statements. We're not here to stifle your freedom of speech, and freedom of religion comes under the safety net of freedom of speech. I don't think everything's fake. No, I think your mind has been faked. And I've asked you again, don't come in here promoting somebody who's a corporate pig who took 4 bankruptcies and took money from the Federal Reserve to finance his economic growth. And now he's threatening Kasich, the lowest guy in the totem pole, with a lawsuit. Kasich, the guy who's running, the Republican who's at the bottom of the totem pole, has made some personal attacks on Donald. Nothing that anyone could ever hold up in court. And Donald's threatening to sue anybody who questions him now. He likes to sue people, he said. Well, I have the right to call him a corporate pig, too. We're only banning anybody who promotes Donald Trump here because, frankly, when he stole my 1,000-mile fence idea and ran with it as if it was his own, I mean, we had a little problem with it. Our ideas are much more honed and developed over the past 8 years and how we're going to deal with the crisis at the border. No, I don't have Trump's hairline. I'm actually working on a new style here. It's a comb to the left as opposed to the right. We did have a Halloween show, but Halloween's already passed. You need to move forward in time. Yeah, Trump came into our website in 2012, and we saw it was Trump because he was in our Ustream site, which never gets anybody. And he came in under the name Trump, Donald Trump. Well, you have to pay Ustream to get that name. So, I mean, it's on the record. I'm sure we'll be able to, pull up the records on Ustream eventually and check it out. But he came in and he talked to us and actually said, keep up the good work. And then he left. And then he started to run his campaign with my ideas. Yeah. Well, Sir Waffles, Trump can sue anybody, but you can't get blood out of a turnip either. Anybody can sue anybody. You can take everything I have. It wouldn't matter to me because I'm not a materialist. Bottom line is I've never done anything that would actually be illegal in reference to Trump. Trump is a public figure, whereas I'm less than a public figure. I'm a fringe candidate, according to Rolling Stone. So technically, I could sue him for slander, but he can't sue me because he's a public figure. And I've never slandered him other than to say he's a corporate pig, which is my personal opinion. And I have every right to have my personal opinion. And he is a corporate pig. Again, I've got to keep checking my donations, but I can't do that. Well, if I am a public figure, you need to tell Rolling Stone that I'm not a fringe candidate. So could you write Rolling Stone and tell them that? Okay, I'll let Sarah talk for a while. I'm going to...
Okay.
United Health wants out of Obamacare. One of the largest providers of health care in America wants out of Obamacare. That's what a failure Obamacare has turned out to be. Thank you. From the conservative angle, the angle of the dangle. Okay, apparently there's a lot of posts there that all related to the same thing. Okay, United Health out of Obamacare. Sarah has had a rough, long week. Yeah, she's kind enough to come in and talk to you guys. No, I've actually reached 1 million people in our show. The metrics that we have tell us we've reached. If Megyn Kelly wants to interview me, feel free. Have her call my number, 707 your ATP. Thank you. We would love to talk to somebody at Fox, especially considering the recent new development that all these Democrats want to allow Syrian refugees to come into our states. I mean, I'm thinking of running for governor again, just because I can't stand what this Jay Inslee is doing.
Yeah.
He didn't step up and say he didn't want people into our state, and now we're going to see 5,000 Syrian refugees coming in, many of them young men. And who knows, they might have a violent record. We'll know nothing about these people, and the House is trying to get some requirements that we really vet these people. Thank you for donating, but I'm going to check our donations in just a second. Let me check the inbox. No, we haven't gotten your donation. That's strange. No, it didn't come in. Sarah's hair is beautiful. What are you talking about?
Done how? You want me to cut it all off?
No, her hair is awesome. It looks great. They're jealous of your hair. It's so beautiful. Yeah, my hair is beautiful too. I just, people are just jealous of our beautiful hair, apparently.
0.9846. I don't think it's a sad part. I mean, I think it's a true fact.
It's not a sad part, it's the truth. I mean, I've got more going for me with our plan for America. We've got a fix to the healthcare crisis, which does not require congressional approval, the mobile medical units. We've got a public health option, which Barack Obama never put on the table. We've got a great way to get people as low as $60 a month. You'll have full health care, including dental. And we've also got a plan to rebuild the housing in America with our homestead renewal plan, which we don't need congressional approval to start. We can do that with the HUD fundings that are currently there. There's about $4 billion I can work with initially. And as I begin to get rid of slumlords and bring on government options, we will have renewed neighborhoods around the country, and people will have a chance to own a house. And we'll be able to cycle a lot of that money back into our government that we're currently giving slumlords, like the guy that got Barack Obama elected, Tony Rezko, a known felon who's in prison for racketeering for 7 years, and he got out. So yeah, we've got great plans, and I haven't even discussed legalization of marijuana with you guys, except earlier when Sarah wasn't here. That will stimulate growth in our economy. We're looking at a new strategy overseas, bringing our troops home, guarding our border, focusing on more protectionist policies about our country's industry, as opposed to what Obama's doing, which is nothing for American industry. We've got an infrastructure bank idea offering 2% loans to U.S. businesses hiring U.S. citizens at a living wage of $15 an hour. Stimulating the private sector, seeing brand new free enterprise. We're going to give the injection that the government needs to inject into the private sector, and then make that thing flourish into a viral job opportunity for people. I'll be right back.
No, David votes for himself. That's why it says, if you can read, vote David John Sponheim for
President. Exactly.
2016. That's a picture of David John Sponheim. See? So, he votes for himself. Thanks for the advice, 98465. United States of America. President of the United States of America. Thank you. Thank you, David Nation. I did watch it yesterday. Compared to the 1980s, men today spend less time on paid work, more time on unpaid work, but have 50 minutes more free time per day. Interesting. I don't know, David Nation, maybe. How are we going to take are you talking about all the Syrian refugees into your radio? Well, if we didn't start a war with President Assad, we wouldn't have to take the Syrian refugees in. Sorry, Beekman. I don't know what to say. Yes, I am. No, I can't. 98465. That's his. No, I can't. Well, I think there's a lot more that I would be spending my time on than going clothes shopping and getting my hair done dry king. I mean, this nation has so much that needs to be worked on, so I would be a very busy person. I know, big yawn, Beekman. It's true. I know, that would be fantastic. I love sleeping, it's true. I was playing well, I suppose that would be one of the things, striking, but the other things would be to actually, I mean, education, reform, education, maybe not reform, but just, yeah, anyway, there's so much to do. I'm not afraid of anything. 6677. I'm not afraid of anything. I suppose I could try 98465, but I think I've already done that, and it's not going to happen, so. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably get my hair done taking a nap, and people can work on my hair when I'm taking a nap. Your hair cannot grow straight. Fortunately, mine doesn't either. It has a little natural wave to it, which I like. Exactly, 7206. You understand completely. I know 98465, and I do appreciate your perspective. Oh, interesting, Tony Osmosis. Oh, you would you? That might be fun. Well, I do have thick hair everywhere. Well, I think that you should look at the positive 98465. Don't dwell on any negative things.
Are you hungry for a chicken quesadilla?
Chicken quesadilla. Interesting. Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Created in the what? That's pretty funny, Tony Osmosis. Hey Louise, how have you been? How's school? Are you taking a break or?
He delivered a baby.
You delivered a baby? That's fantastic. I bet that was a pretty monumental point in your life. Very cool. I don't really cook. Well, probably the last time you saw that, David Nation. That's so cool. The positive is there is an electable candidate, David. So, just keep, I don't know what to say. You're going to start gynecology, oncology next week? Oh. Gynecology, oncology, so like women that have breast cancer and like that kind of thing? I suppose I could cook macaroni and cheese if I had to. I know you're talking to DT and not me, but I suppose I could. I would add some broccoli to it though. Serve it with broccoli. Oh, you're all full of all kinds of cool data, Tony Osmosis. Edited videos? What kind of edited videos? 94275. I know. I can cook if I want to cook, but I prefer not to cook. It's one of those things. I mean, I could do anything, I suppose. But it's not my favorite thing. Because I'm saving energy and I'm saving money. 61025. I highly recommend it for you as well. surgical management of uterine, ovarian, and cervical cancers. Wow, that's interesting, Luis. I do talk, I guess, a little bit slowly, which, I don't know, maybe I should talk quicker, but I like the way it is. Yes, I could do that too. I'm capable, Drag King. Is it my favorite thing to do? No. Yes, I do know how to boil water. If he could shelve some of that, you mean? I am not traveling for Thanksgiving. I'm staying put. Actually, I'll be traveling after Thanksgiving, that weekend after Thanksgiving. No, just for a day, and it's not really traveling. Yes, I love hot water, so yes, I do use some hot water washing my voluminous hair. Yes, I do know how to boil water. By the way, I was reminded of the boiling point of water the other day. 212 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 degrees Celsius. So for Thanksgiving, we'll probably have a couple family members over, and then after we have those and we'll probably, I haven't bought any fancy things for Thanksgiving. Yes, I do know how to cook a hard-boiled egg. Your best friend's sister has hair like mine, and you call her Sasquatch. Do you think she really likes that term? Oh yes, true, at sea level. Thank you for your correction. 212 at sea level. 98465. Really? That is very interesting. 64145, I suppose. She's a tomboy? Then how does she have hair like mine if she's a tomboy? I don't know. I haven't put up my Christmas tree yet. Actually, we have a cool tradition in our house for Christmas. So, I'll let David tell you about it if he wants. Oh. Well, that's good that you don't call her Sasquatch to her face. I thought you were gonna start calling me Sasquatch.
I'm gonna get a jacket on, I think.
Okay. You're 7206. That's pretty hilarious. Oh, thank you, 7438. Yeah, well, I'm a lucky lady to be with David, too. Will I get David a new Xbox game? He hasn't touched Xbox for quite some time, so no, it's kind of doubtful. What was I thinking of getting him, though? What was it you wanted for Christmas?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I want a chainsaw.
A chainsaw. Maybe I'll get him a chainsaw.
I want a chainsaw. We had the big storm here. One person died up here in the Northwest. The winds were so bad the other day that we had a lot of trees,
Somebody
flying
died?
everywhere. Yeah, somebody died here from a tree.
Whoa.
Now, see, I knew that people would make fun of me for wanting an electric chainsaw. I want one of those battery-operated ones because I don't really like to, have gas and, to load the thing. So. It was in Cheney that they died, really? Wow. Was it a woman? Do you happen to know? Was it a poor girl? Oh, wow. God. No, I'm not going to be doing a lot
David
of big...
doesn't like the gas kinds.
Yeah, I don't want to do a lot of chainsawing. It's not like I want to get out there and, run that chainsaw or something, I just have a couple of trees I need to cut up. Firewood, things that, you got a lot of droppage from my forest here that I have. I have like an acre. Half of it's forested, and there's a lot of tree limbs and things that go down, and I absolutely just need something short to chop up, because I don't really relish the idea of cutting trees down, frankly.
We still
I don't
do
really
have
do it.
some stuff in our biodome, but I don't recommend the blue plastic. I recommend clear.
Oh, get clear plastic. I experimented with blue plastic, which is a solar cover for a swimming pool. We put that around the biodome. It's incredibly resilient. It'll last 50 years. Problem is, I can only grow cherry tomatoes and nasturtiums. There's not enough light to really grow a lot of food. So, yeah, she prefers clear, and I would go with a clear if I would build a biodome, tomorrow. But man, that solar cover, it is incredible. It keeps it warm in the winter. But you just don't get, you need more light. You need more light. Yeah, it keeps it warm. Yeah, we built a biodome. I actually put a video out in 2009, I think.
Biodome for under $100.
Do you want to see it right now? We could play it for you.
It's pretty cool video.
Yeah, I'll show it to you. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a $100 opportunity for you to build something like this in your backyard. And it saved a lot of money, I'm telling you. And this thing has withstood 100-mile-per-hour winds numerous times, like the other day. We had like 80, I think, 80-mile-per-hour winds. But the biodome has got about 100,000 hits on YouTube. But it's not like we care, because we're not hooked up to AdSense or anything. So, but that's nothing on YouTube. 100,000 is nothing in this day and age. Yeah, have a bite to eat too. It's right over there. You may have to give it a microwave. Yeah. Yeah, for some reason it's not popping up right away. It's under a different name, I think. Oh, here it is. ATP.biodome. Here you go. Thank you. Yes.
Check out our amazing biodome. We built it for less than $100.
One end of the video. Hi. David John Sponheim here. Sarah Hart. We have a fantastic thing to share with you. It's a biodome we built, and it only costs under $100 to create, and I think you're really going to be excited.
Yeah, it's really great to grow vegetables in the winter when it's cold out like it is now. We still have sun, but it's quite cold, so.
We have a little solar system running in case we want to do any irrigation off of the sun. See that? Those are black barrels filled with water, and they soak up the heat. Right now inside of here, it's like 40 degrees right now outside, but inside is about, you say about 95 degrees?
If you look around, we put shelves on all the different sides of the biodome. We started with a top from a yurt and actually created the plastic with PVC piping, black PVC piping,
right,
to create and then 2x4s.
2x4s? Let's count how many 2x4s are in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I mean, some
regular
of the wood
2x4s
might be more expensive than $100, but if you're able to get it from a place that they're building a house or something like that,
right,
it works out really well.
So you're planning on starting seeds, is that it? In the seed starter?
Yeah,
here?
I'll put seed starters and I have some smaller ones outside or things like this. And then I'll start the seeds and I'll put them all along the edges of the shelving in here to germinate them.
Right. And something that really requires germination would be something like that. Maybe lettuce could get started there. But this is how you get your garden started, folks. And what we did was we constructed this with recycled materials, and also, like she said, a yurt had a crack in it, so we used the dome. But this could be replaced by plastic sheeting and PVC or water piping. This is a particular type of metal that's very good reflective agent and has an insulation barrier. You can get this at most hardware stores. But as you can see, It's pretty well made for $100, and it has withstood 100-mile-per-hour winds. It should be able to handle that. The construction, yeah. So we use that, and then we have a water barrel back in the back that we have a timer on, and we have a solar system for pumping and getting water to plants in the summer when we're not able to service it all the time.
Well, that's even cool too on in your garden with just a PVC pipe that you created with plastic sheeting,
right,
as a mini greenhouse type thing,
yeah,
to start germinating during the winter.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very good. Okay, well, great. Thank you for sharing this beautiful experience. We created this biodome about 2 years ago, and if you want to get more information, you can certainly email us. Be glad to talk to you, and thanks for watching.
This project required 10 2x4s, 8 feet long, 20 yards of 5mm plastic, and 30 feet of flexible PVC. So start your own biodome and save on vegetables coming up this year.
As you can see, I was Mr. Mellow at that time. Mr. Mellow, yeah. I have withstood 100-mile-per-hour winds in it. I'm not kidding. I really have. And we just had a recent windstorm here. It did fine. I did a double insulation layer of blue solar cover like you would put on a swimming pool. I replaced that clear plastic with that. I'm raising nasturtiums and cherry tomatoes for the winter crop right now. Yeah. I like nasturtiums. They're edible flower. And I have this plant that just wants to keep growing. We planted it about 2 years ago, and it rerooted, and it's just, No, I don't. You're not allowed to grow marijuana unless you're a registered marijuana grower in our state. And I would never do that, simply because I'm running for office, and I don't want anything to jeopardize my dream of becoming your president. So we're trying to, abide by every law and do everything right, because that's the only way we can do it. If we don't do this right, it could affect, every future third party in the future of our country, really. I would never want to, running for office. Yeah. I look baked. Wow. Well, I'm not. Should I be? Should I throw myself in the toaster oven? I am in Washington State, yeah. Recreational marijuana capital of America. The problem with the recreational marijuana here, though, is a lot of the businesses are really struggling because the democratically led legislature wants to tax every single component of the process. The grower gets 25% tax. The handler and the retailer all pay separate 25% taxes. So, there is no poll at this point. I'm not running yet for governor, but if I choose to, and if our governor continues to make mistakes like allowing Syrian refugees into our state, I certainly will probably get at least 20% of the vote, I would hope, as a third party. That is basically the position that most elections are. The spread is usually 20%, 35, 35, and 10% undecided. I would have 60% of the vote if they'd understand my politics. I'm not a person who's out to, I'm not a right-wing extremist, racist. I'm an integrationist who supports freedom of speech and right to bear arms. Obviously, these are, to the right of the Democratic wing, but I think I represent more Americans than the Democrats right now. More of us are centrists, as opposed to fringe political people. But a lot of people are waking up to the lie of the two-party system. So in a way, we're all becoming awakened to the need for an independent voice in American politics. And I hope to be that voice for years to come. But it's going to require the type of commitment that only a focused and diligent mind can produce. Most people just bail at a year or 2 years. We've been doing this for 7 years with no personal gain, with the one intent to help the country give Americans a voice. I mean, you guys need a voice too. You're not getting heard. You write a blog on Huffington and Politico and nobody hears you. Nobody sees that. Or if they do, it's like, buried in the NA. The only people in government really listening to you right now is the NSA. They care. My Christmas tradition is we celebrate Christmas family gatherings. Small, tight-knit group, nothing big. I've thought about going to Vegas or something. That'd be fun. 3.5 is, how do you feel about Obamacare? Well, I'm against Obamacare because I don't believe it really is a universal health care plan. It's just a way for healthcare companies to gouge us extra money, and I think a lot of you are realizing that, even you Democrats who thought it was a good thing. I believe that we can nullify it state by state, and I would urge governors to do that. But I'm also going to pursue a court case when I'm president, using the Justice Department to launch a case against it, claiming that it is not legally justified, that they could pass it with reconciliation. It's a civil constitutional law issue that I believe somebody should have sued the Democrats when they put it out there. Constitutional law is basically, reconciliation is in no way something you can use to pass landmark legislation. I'm really surprised it passed. But one good way to stop it is to just, sue it out of existence. We need a solution for our healthcare crisis. We need low-cost, immediate solutions for people who don't have a lot of money in your area. And I came up with this mobile medical unit idea that with Sarah and I, we actually pitched a couple of venture capitalists on an idea to create these things, but nobody jumped on it. But that's when we realized we needed to create a political solution to carry something so important as local outreach of mobile medicals, providing people immediate medical care at a low cost, $30 for each copay. So whenever you go to this thing, you'll pay $30. If you don't have any money, though, you can sign a voucher and Medicaid funds will be drawn from, as well as the possibility that we'll get people donating money to help people who are of low income. But the idea is to get costs down. That's the primary thing, getting the cost down for healthcare. Why do we need a healthcare solution? Because a public option would eliminate all the middlemen and the insurance companies, cutting the cost of your insurance down to nothing. Next, $60 a month is what we're proposing. $60 a month if you have the money to do that. If not, you can go do a copay at the local mobile medical unit. And we're going to provide generic medicine as well, with the government getting behind something where we can partner up with generic medicine producers and start producing low-cost pharmaceuticals for people who currently are unable to actually get access to good health care costs for their pharmacy. I met a couple old people recently that were Bernie Sanders supporters. I mean, she was wearing a Bernie Sanders t-shirt. She's going, Bernie all the way. And I said, well, I mentioned what we do in America's Third Party, but they were upset that their pharmaceuticals were so expensive. And so many older people now are facing this incredible cost overrun. I mean, we're talking $600 to $800 a month for diabetes or blood pressure issues. And this is after their copays and all their, adjustments. They're really getting hosed. So some of these older people are going to love the idea of generic alternatives. And they'll be able to get those at any mobile medical VA or a connected facility. We're going to use the Veterans Administration to do this. And it will eliminate my need to go through Congress to get this passed. So we'll get it all forward, put out there, and moving really in a direction toward low-cost solutions. This will be able to take a blood chemistry of everything in your body with a pinprick of a simple machine. It should give you computerized analysis when we get these things dialed in. It'll have an onboard ultrasound, portable, as well as a thank you. Thank you. And we'll have the ability for you to watch a TV set. Imagine that. So say I bring you a little seating area here. I did this the other night. It was kind of fun. we'll make a little tent outside, and I'll put like a large top on it, connect it to the vehicle, and then we'll put a bench seat area for you, so you can sit down. We'll have a couple rows like that, and on the side of the vehicle we'll put a large LED TV, which will give you fun stuff to look at. Yeah, we'll make it entertaining. And you could even, ultimately with a waiting list of maybe 20 people at a time, we'll be able to help serve people in every area. And this unit will rotate around the neighborhoods. I anticipate 10 of these could service Los Angeles on a daily basis. Now, I've been to the LA County Medical Center. I spent a lot of time there because a family member of mine was in need of help, and they were the only ones who were available to help her. But I did everything I could, and it was like 200 hours of grueling waiting around to deal with, your average Medicaid recipient healthcare in America. And I can tell you, 10 of these in every city will alleviate the healthcare crisis and what our trauma care and ER units are going through, making those things go. Basically, they bilk the average citizen for all the freebies they give illegal aliens and homeless people at every ER. And this will alleviate the cost of doing that. I'm not a comedian. I'm an average person who has a unique ability. That's the best way I describe myself. And I'm probably the only guy who's going to be able to fix this problem facing our country right now, because I have a complete understanding of the roots of this ISIS organization. And when it started, it wasn't going to be what it's turned into. I basically believe that our government is funding ISIS directly. And they've done it through the sending of Toyotas recently that you saw in the pictures. Someone did a search for Toyotas in the Middle East, and the only search they could bring up was the State Department procurement order. So those terrible Toyotas that these people had with all those terrible black flags, apparently there's something going on internally in our country where they want a war. And I don't know any of you that want a war. I doubt any of you really want a war. No, I've never had a mentally ill, suicidal relative that I know of. There was a person that allegedly committed suicide in my family line, but I don't know if they were diagnosed with mental illness. Yeah, that was a long, long time ago, back in the early 1900s. Any other questions? Not 10 in every city, no. We would never, ever have a nuke usher or... That's a crazy statement, man. I would never have a nuclear Sponheim order, world order. I mean, if anything, we can work collaterally with Russia and make peace. I can reach out and have a teleconference with Vladimir Putin. Within about 2 or 3 hours of discussing problems within our two countries, I think we could come to a reckoning, and we would withdraw troops from Syria. I would never keep the troops that are currently there manipulating the politics of that country. I would, however, provide humanitarian assistance to the people so that there would be safe havens, solutions for people in Jordan, humanitarian solutions if there were refugee people. If this was handled properly, we never would have had to absorb refugees like Obama's doing. He's actually turning our country upside down doing it, which is really his intent. Remember, this man started claiming he was a Christian, yet he never went to any of the Christian churches that he claimed he went to. He, in fact, said that Reverend Wright was, he denied Reverend Wright being a part of that group anymore. He stopped his faith, and he never picked it up. You notice that? In 7 years, he never engaged in prayer or anything. Because he's a Muslim, and you Democrats are fooled. And he has one intent, and that is to create jihads around the world, starting fires in 6 different Middle Eastern countries with the start of what they call the Arab Spring. Much of that were rich liberal donors that literally financed rebellions, much like they financed rebellions in Ferguson, Illinois, or Ferguson and St. Louis area, or the possibility that George Soros funded any one of those operations is very real. So we are now seeing the spin-off of the democratically led creation of jihads around the world. And now it's coming home to roost, and people like Rick Santorum, the conservative Republican, who's kind of low man on the totem pole, even though he's got some good ideas, he's getting pushed off to the side in the media because he's talking about how Barack Obama started ISIS. And it's the truth. So many of you are waking up to that fact. Let's play some music and let's relax a little bit. It's Friday night, you worked hard. I don't want to turn this night into a night of complicated thinking when just enjoying music sounds like more fun, for sure. But yeah, it's a complicated situation. It's not as simple as us versus ISIS or crisis. It's way beyond that. And it's something that our country seems to be angling toward, which is war. They can't stop. And it's kind of weird because we can't stop either.
Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night. Bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop.
So let's be clear.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
So we did a little biodome earlier. That was kind of fun. I really like making it. It took me about 6 hours. Yeah. Okay, we talked a little bit about Iraq.
We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, and we won't stop.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop.
I've got an idea. Why don't we just, since our government helps with the opium production in Afghanistan, why don't we go ahead and help provide opium and opportunities in Iraq too? I mean, can't we export that technology? I mean, think about it. Why are we guarding opium when we should just legalize marijuana right here in America? Makes no sense, does it? Yeah, I want to keep dancing too. I haven't even started. Yeah, so the big question we had earlier was we talked about legalization of marijuana, a big part of our campaign. And we talked about how our government seems to be working with the Mossad and French intelligence, and then claiming ISIS is this big threat. We haven't heard about ISIS until about 2 years ago when this map emerged showing ISIL forces. And then we just established earlier that Barack Obama has actually been supporting ISIL, Sunni operations in areas like Iraq and Syria. So who's really the enemy here? That's the question. It's getting very complicated, and I don't think we need to have a rush to judgment or a knee-jerk reaction and start some ridiculous war against Russia. It's absurd. Our nation needs to calm down, negotiate peace with Russia, pull our troops out of Syria, and establish a strong border perimeter around America. And then the last thing we're going to do is allow Syrian refugees into our country. That would be the last thing I would do as president. I would never even do it, in fact. What am I saying the last thing? I wouldn't do it, period, ever. But why they're doing it now? Makes no sense. It's an imbecilic for the Democrats to think they're going to weaken our country even more on top of what they've already done to our nation. And they won't even admit to it. They still think we're in a recovery. It's absurd. Let's debate. I don't mind debating. I'm not banning for anyone who debates me, man. I will only purge you if you demoralize us and question the very essence of what we're doing, which is amazing. Actually, we're giving you a forum to talk. So we only purge people that say negative things about me and what we're doing and our supporters. David, why do you keep mobile medical VA when FEMA already has a fleet of these mobile medical units? Well, then we'll use the FEMA ones, thank you. Problem solved, thank you. How many do they have? Because all that's secret information. I don't have that information. And I've never seen them deployed in any area, so I'm not really sure what you're talking about. Yeah. No, I don't ban people who don't buy false flag narratives. No, I never do. No. I only ban people who make personal attacks and try to demoralize us. Now, if you're an absolute moron, we will invite you into the show. Feel free to chat. You're welcome for Guest Enable. I know you guys like to talk. I thought I'd give you kind of a rough map behind me so we know what we're dealing with. So our president wants to start a war in Syria, and all the Democrats behind him want to cling to power, not realizing our recovery is a recover-up, and they're putting us so far in debt it's insane. And then you've got liberals, super liberals like Bernie Sanders and Hillary, that want to continue borrowing and digging a hole deeper, and then taxing you, the American people. And you're nearly tapped out. I know, I'm one of you. I'm a person who skimps and saves everywhere I can. Bernie's way off the right. He actually said he wants to take an $18 trillion loan on top of what we already owe to finance government jobs. We have a plan for government jobs, but we're not going to force it on people. And we're not going to make taxpayers pay for it. We're going to make sure we keep that number of American jobs right in there with the existing budget we currently have at HUD. And then the infrastructure bank idea is something we have to work with Congress to develop, but I'm thinking we could develop that out of the executive branch if need be. But I want to stimulate micro loans for people. I want to see people get a $1,000 possible loan and get people on track for a better way of life. A small business may be all you need to get started. $1,000 will get you in the right direction, and if you pay that loan back, you'll get another $1,000, and you can get that money right away. You just have to pay a little bit of interest, $40 interest within 6 months. We have a beautiful planet, and the Democrats, Republicans are doing nothing to clean it up. We're doing absolutely nothing to keep this world clean. In fact, we're allowing the unbelievable devastation of our environment with chemical sprays everywhere. And please don't call me a whack job, because I'm saying things that are actually common knowledge among NASA and NOAA right now. There's meetings going on right now about how they're doing weather modification and have been doing it since the 1960s. Seriously. I don't have that URL on your mobile medical units. My units will be separate from FEMA. My units, we're going to build a separate custom unit to specifically deal with urban problems that are specific to our cities. FEMA is more set up for emergency, but these units will be able to go into emergency situations. Let me show you what we're talking about here.
You fucking must.
Now, I've never used the F word on our show, and it's a little bit hesitant. I'm a little hesitant to do anything with the F word. But it really does fit the music. And since you guys are fully familiar with what the F word is, I don't see a problem with playing in the background. I don't never use the F word on our show, ever. I've said frig and frack and fracking and fuking. I've said fuking before, like Fukushima. I've even said we're fooked by Fukushima. I have. You have virgin ears too? Well, a lot of people don't seem to care about anything. And they run around with potty mouths, and they hide their emails, and they don't want to talk to people. And whenever they stand in front of a camera, they smile and pretend like they're God's gift to mankind. People like...
What difference at this point does it make? What difference at this point does it make? What difference at this point does it make?
It makes a lot of difference, because a standing ambassador to an important country was killed, and all the while was asking for protection. The whole time he was contacting his Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, and asking for some protection. And she acted like she just passed that off to the NSA, like it was no big deal. And then she said two things out of two sides of her mouth. One, she said to her family that it was a terrorist act, and the other she said to America, oh, it's just a rioting group of people upset about the movie Innocence of the Muslims, which incidentally a lot of people did die from that movie. All right, moderate along, debate yourself. Do whatever you have to do, man. I'm not here to debate formally with anyone unless you have me in the debates, and if you want to get me there, that's great. If not, that's okay too. Yeah, that's Peanuts. Charles Schultz, Peanuts cartoon. Some of you said Peanuts? Yeah, I said Peanuts. That's right. How's Jimmy Carter doing? How's he feeling? Does anybody know? He has the brain cancer. And I was suggesting maybe Jimmy should smoke a little joint or something, You remember Jimmy Carter, the guy who was a peanut farmer? Jimmy Carter, he's still alive, but it definitely is racism. Rosalind and I are working to save. He should smoke a joint, don't you think? Someone should write Jimmy a letter saying, smoke a joint. It might help you. It'll help your appetite, Jimmy. John Denver smoked a joint in the White House under Jimmy Carter. I believe it may very well have been the first marijuana in the White House. Unless, of course, Abe Lincoln was, toking the old stogie. Spot on, Dave. Thanks. But I can tell you that Jimmy Carter is a kind of an emblem in my mind, because I did vote for Jimmy Carter. I'm proud to say I did vote for Jimmy Carter. And I'm sorry that he got such a bum rap. I'm sorry we were fooled by what I believe is the New World Order. I believe Ronald Reagan was a paid actor. And I believe he may very well have been the first paid shill president that we've ever had. I don't know if he knew he was a shill, because I think Ronald Reagan liked to walk around and have people tell him what to do. We've got a president like that right now. Well, let's be clear. Okay. Could you adjust my teleprompter? Thank you. He basically wakes up in the morning and he has to go to a teleprompter to find out what to say. Well, Reagan was kind of the same kind of guy. And he was a very good, accomplished actor. Well, when Ronald Reagan decided that his foreign policy should be the Star Wars defense system, it was actually someone else's idea. Yeah. Lyndon LaRouche, of all people. Believe it or not, Lyndon LaRouche was the guy that developed his Star Wars defense system and then went on to become a guy who runs for president like I do. Has guys out in front of the post office with signs with, pictures of Obama as Hitler. Anyways, Lyndon LaRouche was the guy behind the Strategic Defense Initiative that Ronald Reagan actually named his. So it's interesting to note that Reagan was kind of like a hollow shell of a person. He didn't even know about Iran-Contra. He was unaware that Iran-Contra was going on. Don Regan kept it from him. Cap Weinberger spent 2 years in jail over that whole affair. That's our Secretary of Defense. Anyway, fast forward to present time, we're screwed. We've got the same two parties. They've never acknowledged their mistakes with war, and they're trying to foment another war at a time when our nation needs a semblance of solving America's problems, not other people's problems around the world. And it doesn't take a guy who's off his rocker about turning our country into a police state like Donald Trump wants to, with IDing people who are Muslim. I mean, how ridiculous is that? Or forcing people out of the country, forced deportation forces that send them out of our country. That is like Nazi Germany. Hey, Candy Rain. Is she here? I don't know. David, does it seem normal to you that an American president wants to override the vast majority of Americans who are worried about Syrian refugees? No, it's not right at all. Nothing's normal about Barack Obama Beekman. I mean, he is the architect of America's demise. And without going into detail beyond this, he's doing well for treatments on melanoma. Thank you. We just got this in from Scissor Fight. Thank you very much. Jimmy Carter. Yeah, he wasn't as bad as people paid him to be. I mean, he was a neutral guy.
The Carter Center says doctors have found no evidence the cancer has spread, no new tumors, and they say he is responding well.
Great. Hey, that's good to know.
Contained the melanoma that had spread to his liver and his brain.
Wow. Good to know. Thank you. He's doing well after the cancer treatment. It was imminent. Jonathan Pollard was... It was going to happen eventually. You know, I'm just glad it's over. I'm not a Zionist, so for me it's a mixed bag. I really don't know how to process it. David, you wonder why Israel has been so quiet about what's going on lately in the Middle East. I certainly am. I think that what I think is going on from a tactical perspective is I believe that they've decided that Israel poses this huge threat to Iran because of Obama's agreement with Iran, which nobody really understands or supports, giving $155 billion to a country that claims they're still not making nuclear weapons, but now they have the ability to make one in 1 year and 1 day and get $155 billion on top of it. That puts the whole thing kind of in a very pivotal position here in the balance of powers. Now, Israel knows they have a small window of time before they can do a deep attack, conventional weapons with bunker-busting bombs, attacking the facilities that are enriching the uranium to create the nuclear weapon. That gives Israel kind of an urgency. I think what's happening with the ISIS dilemma with Syria is a side theatrical event to defer people in Israel from thinking that what they're going to try to do is create a war around that war. So that would give justification to us sending in troops in assisting Israel in an attack on Iran. It may be that they want to orchestrate an attack on Syria and Russia at the same time. That would be a very fatal mistake. And I believe that if Israel were to attack Iran directly with a conventional force, which I predict will happen with a 95% certainty within the next year, that it will trigger a broad international conflict, but it wouldn't be on a global scale. Whereas now, with the positioning that the CIA has done with this quasi-terrorist phenomenon called ISIS is to create justification for a larger war and then thereby initiate World War III with Russia. Not a good move. This is the wrong series of events that would trigger World War III. And I'm very concerned about it. Whereas a direct conventional strike Israel against Iran with no interference from anyone else, even if Syria were to get involved protecting Iran, and it was Israel, Syria, and Iran, without Russia and the US involved, it could be isolated to just that region. And I'm almost sure that Israel will prevail. But that's my take on the entire world balance of powers as they currently roll out in American foreign policy. I don't believe that our engagement in this region is necessary, frankly. I really believe that we are doing the wrong things by precipitating a conflict in Syria, leading to now the Syrian refugees. All of this could be blamed on Barack Obama and John McCain too, because he's a big supporter of this. Both parties are to blame for this. All right, that's my take. Israel has a very small window of time before they eventually will be threatened with a nuclear attack. Iran has every intent to make a nuclear weapon, despite what people say. We know for a fact that they've initiated a process of creating neutron detonators. They have hidden their enriched uranium, and even in the contract that Obama signed, agreement, it's all hidden. They have 24 days to comply to any international standards of review. And the U.S. is approving sale of genetically modified salmon for human consumption. Well, it's bound to happen. Big difference in the size of the salmon, though, I can tell you that. As a big salmon lover, and with the depletion of our salmon population, barring any long-term studies on salmon and their spawning effects and how they will affect us down the food chain, I don't have a problem with this. Yeah, our salmon population is dwindling rapidly, and it's not pretty. We need to come up with better solutions. Aquaponics would be integrated in our seawater pipeline. In fact, we've even had people contributing to the idea of our seawater pipeline being used for hydroponics as well as raising vegetables, fruit, marijuana. Scissorfight made this. Isn't that cool? Each module could actually be a little biosphere in and of itself. The seawater that's evaporating, I didn't tell you this, but I might as well tell you. It's certainly worth talking about. It can actually be used to grow fishes, little fishies. Fish can be raised in our seawater while we're evaporating. And we can have a mass production of fish minnows that turned into fish meat. We could make a nice little, kind of like anchovies, similar. Tasty little taste treats of fishies. Raised in naturally clean water, filtered, but salty. And then we can also raise clams, mussels. Yeah, a lot of this is going to be part of the future, I'm afraid to say, because what's happening to Mother Earth is happening at an alarmingly fast rate. We are seeing a degradation to our environment that is beyond anything we could even imagine. And unfortunately, I have to bring, it's 8 o'clock now, I can bring up, yeah, like sardines, exactly. I can bring up chemtrails. Thank you. I was going to tell myself I was going to wait till the after show to talk about chemtrails. But the reality is the elitists around the world are initiating a policy of depopulation. That's the reality. It's a slow process, but they're trying to accelerate it by spraying chemicals in the air. Now, chemicals have been dumped all over the place. This is a video called Smokers, but it's an amazing video because it talks about the The release of massive amounts of toxins by planes. Check this out. Yeah, there they are. These are, we don't know why they do this. We're not really sure. But this has been noted numerous times in history. All around the globe, they dump diesel into the air. They just dump it. Massive amounts of diesel. No, not at all. These are the actual outright dumps of diesel. I'm glad Jimmy Carter's doing well. That's great. Yeah, see, I voted for the guy because I was a Democrat. I'm an old school kind of guy. You know, I care about people. I'm concerned about the racism in the world and racial profiling. But I'm not going to bend over and allow Muslims to form jihads and build military enclaves in our country and get ready to attack us. I don't think Jimmy Carter was strong enough on foreign policy, and I think that was his weak point. And he didn't really take an active role in his foreign policy, so it kind of fell apart when he sent those 9 helicopters to save the hostages that were held for 550 or 444 days at the Iranian embassy in Tehran. He basically lost all 9 helicopters. They got sand contaminated in their fuel lines. So you're thinking it's an emergency dump? Okay. Well, you know, I guess, but this is going on all the time. Howdy, Texas PD. Well, they think they own the damn sky, Reptoid. Yeah. Now, I can't tell you what consistency this stuff is, but there have been studies. And they've shown that what the government is doing is they're using lithium, dumping it on people to test the weather.
Yeah, it's very important we communicate what we're doing to the public. We're very interested in making sure everyone knows what we're doing. We're not, we're a civilian space agency dedicated to science and research and so on. So we're very keen to make sure that the taxpayers know what we're doing and everything. So,
Well, you know, when the article came out in the major newspapers, including the Huffington Post, there was no mention of lithium. Not one. Not one mention of lithium. Until I heard the recording of the actual, I listened to it. I listened to the rockets go off. I had no idea there was going to be a lithium dispersed. Until I heard payload, lithium dispersed.
right, there was lithium dispersed, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. I think there might have been some misconceptions about what we're doing, but I'm happy to tell you any details you need.
Well, I know that it says in your article that you're doing it for communications.
Okay, I'm happy to talk to you more about it. There are many reasons we're doing it.
Okay.
We don't understand how the wind in the upper atmosphere moves.
Mm-hmm.
In these chemtrails, there's different kinds of chemtrails, as you probably know. Different trails at night we use, different trails during the day.
Okay.
We don't understand how the wind in the upper atmosphere moves.
Mm-hmm.
In these chemtrails, there's different kinds of chemtrails, as you probably know. Different trails at night we use, different trails during the day. The wind blows them around. They glow either on their own or from scattered sunlight. We take pictures and we can see how the wind trail moves around.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In these chemtrails, there's different kinds of chemtrails, as you probably know. Different trails at night we use, different trails during the day.
Right.
The wind blows them around. They glow either on their own or from scattered sunlight.
Exactly.
We take pictures and we can see how the wind trail moves around.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
In these chemtrails.
So, and this guy went on to further admit that he was dumping lithium, and it was perfectly safe. Tonight we talked a little bit about the terrorist attacks that's occurred, and no matter how you look at it, it is still a terrorist attack, whether you think it was a false flag or not. So we all come to an agreement that we want to find out who's really behind this, and I don't really buy the mainstream media's opinion about the Paris attack. So we are looking into this. Now, lithium is used with mental patients. There was no echo. Oh, you were getting echo audio on that? I'm sorry. It was that bad, really? It really? It was that bad. It was that bad. It was that bad. Bad. Echo. Okay, we got some other stuff here. A lot of inconsistencies about the Paris attack. The fact that Israel's Mossad, CIA, and French intelligence met 3 weeks prior in Paris. Timing is a little weird. The connection to all of this. Thanks, Drag King. I'll take a look at that. The connection to all of this activity in Syria. Also, a little bit weird connections. It's almost like they're trying to, fan the flame of war by getting us all absurdly obsessed with terrorism. And then the lack of details. And I've been looking all over the internet for a list of the decedents, and I don't have 120 names. To this day, nobody's presented anything. So you guys have been looking. You haven't found any names. Again, missing names. 5 people allegedly have gone forward on camera and talked about it, but those could be 5 people in the witness protection program. And circus actors could have been paid to hang out of windows, and there's strong evidence that that is the case as well. One of the women hanging out of the windows outside the club in the picture that we had, the photograph, the cameo video clip that everyone got to see. It turns out she could be a circus performer because she's connected to a lot of them. And we found this out through the internet. People doing deep searches and finding people who know people, Facebook connections, etc. So lots of weird things are popping up. The fact we only have one picture of the actual concert hall kill scene, very strange. Weird the way some bodies don't have any blood and the others look like they've been rolling around in circles making funny little finger painting things with blood. It's just really, it's like helter-skelter, but it's not. Okay, this cable suggests the U.S. goal in December of 2006 was to undermine the Syrian government by any available means. This is from the WikiLeaks files. Let me take a look at this. This is a cable that came in on WikiLeaks that was released by Edward Snowden. Interesting. And that what mattered was whether U.S. action would help destabilize the government, not what other impacts the action might have. In public, the U.S. was opposed to Islamic terrorists everywhere, but in private it saw the potential threat to the regime from the increasing presence of transiting Islamist extremists as an opportunity that the U.S. should take action to try to increase. Yeah, see, that's from Robert Naiman of the WikiLeaks file that was released. Wow. Thanks. And that was from No Way Jose. Thank you. And you've got another one? Okay, I'll take a look at it. France state of emergency declared for 3 months, allowing authorities to shut down websites and giving police sweeping new powers. Wow. So France is starting to implement the draconian New World Order protocols. Interesting. We have those protocols in our country already in place to implement, and that's not a good thing. I don't support a New World Order. I'm against that. It's kind of wild how things are kind of spinning out of control over there in Europe. What can we expect? Well, there's a lot of live training events using crisis actors going on in America. There's links to people looking for crisis actors all the time in malls around the country. So at any time, any one of those events that the government's planning could go live, and they may decide to make that a real event like they did with Umpqua Community College. And they did a pretty good job of pretending to have a shooting where everybody dies, there's no witnesses. Same thing with Paris attack, everybody's dead, no witnesses, nobody can be interviewed. It's kind of a method of cleaning everything up real quick and just, let's move on. They can do this because they control the mainstream media, all the ventricles of communication. You're drinking a ton of Jack, man. Okay, man, you better cool down on that. That'll fry your brain and your liver. Sip it, don't drink it, okay? Don't be all macho and down that shot thinking you're only killing yourself, buddy. House passes legislation to audit the Fed. This is a good start. We all want the Fed to end. Of course, the Democrats don't. I do. The Republicans don't seem to care except for Rand Paul and Ron Paul and maybe Ted Cruz. There she is in all her glory, the lady that doesn't really know what to do. And then she thinks about doing something, and, if she's just announced when she's going to have a bowel movement, I think the whole country would have a surge in stock prices. She looks like she could use a good BM. In a 241 to 185 vote, the House passed a bill Thursday, largely along party lines, that would make major changes to the way the Federal Reserve operates in an attempt to create more transparency. That's good. Well, this is a Republican-led Congress can do this. This is good. The Federal Oversight Reform and Modernization Act, spearheaded by Michigan Republican Representative Bill Huizenga, would lift restrictions placed on the Government Accountability Office, enabling the agency to audit the central bank and narrow its ability to provide emergency bailouts. Thank God. Well, good for him. That's great. Good news. That's a good link. Hey, don't come in here and make negative things about the show. I've got a really good thing happening here. We've given people a chance to actually share political thought. No one on the internet has that ability. When you go to the Fox chat room, they don't even allow you to share much. Yeah, like Sonny and Cher. And when you post on Huffington and Politico, nobody reads it. At least you know people are reading it here. Thank you. Big Daddy Kane loves it here. Thanks for hanging out, Big Daddy. But I've got big questions for Miss Clinton. Ms. Clinton, we'll call her, Ms. Clinton. Bill's been out doing the circuit, still answering questions from studio audiences as long as they're pre-scripted and they don't include Orgy Island.
Thank you for answering the questions in the chat room, David.
Yeah. Yeah, what happened to Sonny? Sonny. Da 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 da. Sonny. Nobody was killed.
Sonny came home with a vengeance.
Sonny came home with a vengeance. That's another good song. Sonny Bono was probably killed. I'm going to guess that he's one of those people they took out in a tree accident. They made it look like he ran into a tree.
Why are we off the screen? Why do you do that to yourself?
I don't. It just adjusted accidentally. I don't know, but it looked a little weird, the whole running into a tree. Same with Bobby Kennedy Jr. He died running into a tree the same way Sonny Bono died. It's weird.
Serenity,
it's
Sanity,
skiing.
Sarah, Party.
Hey, Sarah and I were out down in Silicon Valley.
Skiing.
We don't ski. Sarah and I don't take risks like that. But
howdy.
When we were down at Interopt, I believe, down in Las Vegas back in 2010.
I'm doing quite well tonight. I just finished my pasta from lunch.
Oh, good.
And
yeah.
This is all about the politics. This guy's running for president. 93055.
Thank you. September 20th.
Yeah, I totally know that guy.
We met this guy.
I'm sure I know him.
This is Mashable, and Mashable gave us a chance to meet this young man.
Jake Brewer.
We met Jake Brewer at a convention. He was a really nice guy. I mean, really nice guy. The kind of guy that you just never would guess would be the most honest person ever. I got a great feeling talking to him, but he died in a strange bike accident in September, recently.
I was not at a Tupperware party. If I were at a Tupperware party, I would have bought a new Tupperware item.
He was a senior advisor to the U.S. Chief Technology Officer at the White House. He was 34. He was riding in
a charity bicycle ride.
Called Ride to Conquer Cancer when he lost control of his bike and crashed into an oncoming car. Now,
No, he was
any
at- he
number
was
of
at
things could happen.
change.org before.
He was at change.org before? Okay. Anything can happen. Yeah, we met him, yeah. I talked to him. I had
Sure I did.
I had like a long conversation with him at, I think, Interop in 2010 in Vegas.
He does look like he actually also looks like the actor that was in that show that we just saw, Blacklisted. He looked like the husband of
Yeah,
the
definitely.
lead.
Yeah,
And
he has that look. But we lost a really good guy with Jake Brewer. He really was an incredible guy, and my concern is that his death in a bike accident is highly unusual. I mean, for a person to be in a bike accident and to lose control of their bike, it could have been a little explosive in his wheel that could have gone off. I mean, I don't have the information on the investigation.
David rarely wears slacks. Oh, I mean shorts or jeans. He usually wears beautiful slacks.
It is shocking that he died, and the question I have is, what did he know? What did he know? Same with the cook, who was at the White House for so long that ended up dying 6 months ago in a river in Arizona on a camping trip where he's out biking. I'll bring you that in just a second. But the chef for the White House under the Clintons died, and it was very mysterious. It's kind of like this bike accident. Ex-White House chef hired by Hillary Clinton found dead. He was there. Actually, he was there when they started using GMOs at the White House.
Lost One says he lives not too far from where it took place. The road is really dangerous, and he can see how it happened.
Really? Who's this? Watch.
Lost One.
Lost One. How do we know you're not COINTELPRO coming in here telling us what we want to hear? I'm just kidding, man. You've been in it before. So you really you lived near there, and you know. So the former White House chef was missing in the mountains of New Mexico. That's where it was.
Hello, I'm Miranda Kahn.
Hi,
President
Randy.
Obama says he will veto any bill that imposes stricter vetting of refugees. The House of Representatives passed new legislation that would require stricter screening of Syrian refugees coming to the U.S.
Good.
President Obama has said numerous times that the United States will accept.
Good. Well, this is a good thing. We've got, so, any number of things are happening that could be suspicious. This is highly suspicious, if you ask me. The thing is, he was 1.5 miles off the trail at the bottom of a river. Now, when you say it's dangerous, what do you mean? He fell, or he just decided to go swimming in a river where he drowned? I mean, it's like, saying it's dangerous is not exactly telling me anything.
And what, he went hiking alone?
Yeah, he went hiking alone. I mean, he was missing for more than a week, was found dead near a hiking trail in New Mexico. Anyway, Hillary Clinton had hired him in 1994. And if anybody was a fly on the wall at the Clinton White House during that time period, all the way up to 2000, it would be the chef. He's the guy that Hillary ordered to use GMOs, to cook with GMOs, because she supports Monsanto. I don't want to look at that. Yeah, I don't want to look at Miley Cyrus performing that. But thank you.
No, thank you.
I'm going to give Sarah a neck rub based on, oh boy, it's like a board. You need a hot pack. We use this thing where you heat it up in the microwave. It's got...
I have to find it.
I found it. It's in the middle of the bed.
Oh, you did find it.
She's so tired she didn't even see it. It was right there. But yeah, we heat it up in the microwave. It's got grain in it. And it lasts pretty long. It's pretty good. Well, this is a thing that her neck tightens up. Mine does too on the right side. I don't know if you guys have the right side problem that we're getting. Everybody in my family's got a right side neck thing going on. I don't know, is it for you the right or the left side? What's your neck problem when you get a stiff neck?
It is rice. And that
Keep up.
rice is a type of grain.
You have scoliosis? You have lard for neck. You do yoga. So it's not a right or left thing. No one wants to commit
What
this.
What are you going to do with the lard, Dry King?
You teach yoga? Really? Well, that's nice. I do a series of workouts in the water. I like aqua exercises. So kind of like Taibo, but Aquabo. Thank you. I like water because it gives you a full body workout. No, not aquaponics, but aqua calisthenics is what I do.
What do you call ponics? Is that growing?
Aquaponics is growing, things. It's like Scissor Fight has this thing he came up with, the scissor grow thing. So, I do some of this too. I like I was telling you earlier, in my biodome I grow nasturtiums and cherry tomatoes this year. And I left the tomatoes out this year because I think they're still getting sun. I decided to leave them up.
Even though it's frozen this morning.
I know, but
it scraped my car.
Oh, I figured as much. If we get one more freeze, I got to pull the tomatoes out there. I found out that the winds, we had such high winds in our area that my cold frame fell apart. Bless you. Bless you. Anyway, I had to settle on like a plastic tarp, and I put wood all over it just to hold it down.
Fantastic. You're from Connecticut. You can join the Connecticut version of America's Third Party. The Connecticut Third Party.
We don't need a lot of people in Connecticut. We only need a small amount of people to form a committee and then get on the ballot as a committee. Yeah. I'm not really at this point I'm not really sure where we're headed as a nation. I would like to think, I got my tie, thank you.
We do have ATP apparel for sale. AmericasThirdParty.com/store.
Stephen Harris is the maker. You look him up online. He has these ties, the whole series of them. Yeah. We have a store online. It's kind of difficult to get all of you to go to the website and check out our website. So instead of holding your hand and walking you over there, we kind of not really... We don't give you any tours other than maybe 2 times during a show. I'll tell you how to do it. But I guess what we really are focused on is talking about timely events and your take on them. And whether we are looking at people being killed or just innocent people going on hikes and bike rides who happen to get killed. We'd like to think that our country doesn't have the most corrupt people in our country running it. We'd love to believe that everybody is just sweet as an angel, but all the evidence shows me that we've got major cover-ups going on. The story about Orgy Island and Bill Clinton never went into the mainstream media, which means that they've got tremendous pull. They can control who hears about what. Story about Afghanistan warlords, opium crops increasing, and the CIA making money on it, that's never gone in the mainstream media at all. Yet we've led to believe that our troops in Afghanistan are doing a good job and working forward toward a good goal, when in reality we've got problems up in that area that are never going to go away.
Yes, 462. Some of the states don't even allow us to start collecting signatures until January.
Yeah, and I've got to get on the phone with Georgia tomorrow because one of our supporters has been trying to get on Georgia ballot, petition to get me on the ballot. And they've stonewalled them. So I've got to go around a corner and find another number into their department and try to get that for them.
Now, Nero, that site is correct.
Yeah, that's correct. Anyway, you can get to our site by going to AmericanThirdParty.com, Americas, and AmericasThirdParty.com. We own all those domains. And we've got AmericasThirdParty.org and .net as well. So we are pretty much dominant there. And thirdparty.com has offered to give us a referral, so that's nice. We like that. We offered to buy that domain, but they didn't want to sell. So yeah, we have t-shirts, man.
talking to Texas like that. He just asked if you liked hot rods or like drag racing cars, or are you just a drag queen?
Right. You're a little touchy when it comes to gayness.
Yes, he did. Scroll up. He said,
check it.
Hey, are you do you like drag racing, or are you into drag?
Yeah.
And yes, scroll up. I read the conversation. You need to read the chat.
So every night the show has, here's a tour of our site. We have our mission. It's about me and my history. We've got platform, new ideas, our way to get our country back on track with a back to the basics plan, maglev rail, seawater pipelines, solar rooftops, how to get involved. And we've got our store right here. And the store is where you can buy ATP gear. You can also reach us here, or go to our video chat page and see our live show, or you can click on the chat right here and go to our live show, or you can watch last night's show right here, an archive. Now, these are the buttons. We've got a few that you can join us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. I don't know if our community is connected yet. I think it's USATP. And then you can donate right here. You can also listen to my radio archives. I've done about 200 radio shows. And we've got a link library like no other on the internet right here, which I contribute to every night. Now, get on the state ballot. You go down to your state, click on the state link. Here's Montana. It tells you how to get on the ballot in Montana, and the same laws still apply in 2016. Most
you
of
can
them.
Always contact your Secretary of State and ask them.
You can call your Secretary of State. It's always right there. The number for your state is right there. You can call her and ask her to get a petition to get a presidential candidate on the ballot.
Peter, we sometimes do take phone calls. Would you like to call?
Yeah. You can also click a download button if it exists. Now, I'm going to try to get more download buttons out there, but this is one that exists where you can actually print out a page immediately and fill it out and get me on the ballot. Just fill in my name and start getting signatures. All right.
No, because David's hair is not long enough to do a comb over like I can do. Thank you, 46285. David, you have some great ideas. There are those in power that may not think so. Right.
Well, we expect to have a lot of adjustments. It's never my way or the highway when dealing with
Peter,
this.
let me know when.
I'm not a my way or the highway kind of person, actually. I would be willing to listen to input from all different sources, but I'm not going to turn this country into a venue for corporate greed and contracts that are constantly rolling out, like the Democrats keep getting these contracts to repair roads that we don't need to repair. So we need to start cutting the budget in areas that are really important to getting our country fiscally sound. I have a zero deficit plan for 2017. Nobody else has that. I have a plan that I articulated in 2 pages, how our country can get a zero deficit. And the Republicans wait till 2024 with their plan. My plan immediately puts a zero deficit on the table.
I'm waiting for David to stop talking, and then I'll answer your question. Yes, we're interested. We can have a conversation with the audience about what the two of us disagree about.
Sure.
The two of us disagree. Well, we disagree about Sandy Hook. David believes it was a false flag. I believe it was a real event. Why? Because I teach, and I think that we need to make our schools safe, and I take it personal a little bit, and I think, what would happen if someone were to come into the school and injure me and take me out, and people started saying, oh, it's a false flag, it never really happened. So we disagree about that. I don't know if we disagree about the Paris attacks, but I believe it was a real event. David has entertained the idea that it's possibly a false flag. Why? Again, I don't like jumping to the conclusion that everything's a false flag.
Yeah.
Now, what we do agree on is, I believe we agree on this, is that I don't believe that any time that there's a massive shooting that there should be any push for gun control, because I believe in our country's right to bear arms. Okay, is that enough?
That's good. We both agree on everything on our website. We both agree that we want to support gun rights, the right of gun ownership. We want to see our troops come home and defend our border. We both have a plan for a fence along the southern border. Sarah was the one that suggested a lethal electric one, and
I do believe in a lethal electric fence. It works in our prison system to keep prisoners in, and I mean and a lethal electric fence isn't just like, oh, there's one fence, and oh, if you go up and touch it, you die. I mean, there's you have to check out how our prison systems are created, and they're pretty amazing. I'll just say that.
Yeah, and when you look at the number of prisons we have, we're also both concerned about the growing private prison sector, which seems to be profiting from implementing government laws which are unfair. We're concerned about overreaching NSA rights and control of our privacy.
Beekman David would claim that those parents that are from Sandy Hook are really crisis actors and may or may not actually have children.
That's the theory, that Sandy Hook, and all the photos
Not that I agree with that.
No, you don't have to, because you haven't seen the actual proof. People that do look at the proof and see that the children in those horrible instances of where they allegedly were killed, they're actually, all of them are actors for the Jill Greenberg agency in Hollywood. And they were all paid actors. And they actually appeared at the Super Bowl. Because the people that put lies in front of us on a daily basis like to brag about it, and they like this. This is fun for them, to make us all believe something and then sit back and laugh. Well, they put the kids out there 2 years later in the Super Bowl as paid actors right there in front of the American people singing a song. No, it's real. And later tonight I'll be playing that video that shows it. And I'm going to play it now because they allow certain professionally developed videos on Vaughn, but it's a real physical facial match to every one of those kids that allegedly died. But hey, it doesn't matter whether you believe it's false flag or not. Bottom line is our country is being manipulated by very powerful interests. We don't have to agree on false flags to talk about that. Yeah, I'm trying to say, Chris, you're trying to hit on my girlfriend, Chris. That's just not cool. I mean, hello.
Yeah.
Utah school apologizes for a homework assignment to make propaganda posters for the terrorist group. What the heck is that? I mean, I can't even believe I'm reading this from Scissor Fight. Fox 13 now. Unbelievable.
Well, they don't take federal money, so.
Yeah, Utah decided not to take federal money, so they can do whatever they want in their homework assignments, I guess. Utah students to make terrorism propaganda poster. Utah school apologizes. What's going on in this world?
Homework assignment. Create a terrorist propaganda poster. Now some Utah parents are asking why. The assignment was given by a teacher at Salem Junior High School.
Tonight, parents of students in the class are pushing back, saying making a poster that persuades people to join ISIS is just going too far. Fox 13's Dora Scheidel joins us from Salem Junior High tonight. Dora.
Well, Bob and Hope, after parents complained, the assignment has been canceled, but many students had...
Okay, we're uploading, download time. Radiohead wants to know, Radio Mime says, trait you have is the same as most politicians. You don't listen to people, all you do is spout your views. Excuse me, but I am reading chat incessantly, and I'm looking at every single chat, and I'm trying to log it into my mind and respond on a daily basis. What other politicians doing that? Anywhere in the country? And feel free to ask me questions, Radio Mime. Really. I just may have missed your earlier comment. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, we are doing the unthinkable in this day and age. We're totally transparent, and we're giving you constant interaction on a nightly basis. Nobody else is doing this. I'm the only person out there doing it. I've been doing it for 7 years, 4 hours a night.
Pretty much, Peter. We do try to read everything you type.
Yeah. Tesla is recalling Model S cars.
Book on interaction. Writing a book on interaction is not necessarily, not even close to actually interacting.
Only people that demoralize us or our supporters. We only ban those kind of people.
Or promote other candidates.
Or promote other candidates. In essence, that's demoralizing us because you're using this venue to support another candidate. We have worked very hard just to even get a voice out in American politics, and believe me, it's hard earned. 7 years we've done this for free. I've donated my time every single night, except for Sunday, to this effort. And Sarah's donated her time as well, and especially doing a lot of the backup paperwork on our show, and did all the work, the hard work on our website, just to get all the tools needed to get a third party on the ballot. If this doesn't take, it's okay. You get what you get what you get. That's really it. In the essence of American freedom, we have the right to gather and build a political movement, and we're not in any way challenging our government. We're actually trying to modify it to make it better.
Government carry is fantastic, Texas PD. That's my opinion.
A Huntington Beach mom whose son brought home a Muslim fight song. You know, I don't want to give that any time in the show, Pacific. It's like adding propaganda to our show. I don't want to do that. We don't support a Muslim jihadist takeover. We're going to do everything we can to make our country strong against that. But bear in mind, the people who are using this terrorist strike and the propaganda that's running around the sidelines, creating fear and paranoia in our society against Muslims, that is something that is going on apart from reality. They're manufacturing that right now. They're creating that fear and anxiety and hatred in America. And they're doing it just like they did would cause the Iraq and the Afghanistan war. And they're trying to operate now a plan to take down Syria like they took down Libya. Well, Libya only had a few F-15s. Syria has 350 or more jets and helicopters that are armed with deadly weapons. They possibly have nukes, I don't know. We never really could establish whether Syria had nukes. We know they were working on a nuclear enrichment plan in 2007 when Israel attacked them, and again in 2013. But we still, at this point, don't see the necessary reasons for starting a war with Syria or Russia. If anything, we should protect our borders and focus on protecting American interests right now. Going over there and starting a war is not going to help our nation at all. We've got enough problems right now. Well, I've already seen another Patriot Act. They created the Freedom Act. The Republicans revamped it and rebranded it and called it the Freedom Act. They knew the Patriot Act was kind of passé and people were getting upset by the name, so they changed the name of it. It's the same act, pretty much. Yeah, they're not going to change. The two parties are never going to change their colors. They're always going to support corporate America and not really give a crap about you. They've proven that time and time again. And as far as the environment is concerned, they could care less. It's all about money. The EPA has become a ventricle for companies, foreign companies, to mine our property and dump cyanide in our rivers, like Colorado River. The EPA recently purposely spilled cyanide into waterways leading into Colorado just to take over properties so that they could open it up to more mining and mineral rights going out to foreign companies at $5 an acre to continue polluting our country and draining it of every resource it's got. Our nation is literally being harvested like a resource. Ergo, the immigration Syrian problem or the illegal alien problem down south, they want to weaken our country. That's what these people want to do, and they're going to do it. And our two parties have become defunct and completely outdated and corrupt too. Completely corrupt through and through. When I ran against the Democrats as a person who preferred Democrats, ironically, they went out to get me. anything they could to libel me in the foreign press, stealing 90% of my signs in 2014 locally. They'll do everything to retain power, and that's why they never questioned Barack Obama. And that's why they don't even question Hillary Clinton, because they want to cling to power. They don't care about solving America's problems. They've never done that. And don't tell me Obamacare is solving problems. It's costing $1.5 trillion extra over 10 years. That's huge. Now, the problem with Donald Trump is he's capturing the audience in the mainstream with my ideas. And he's trying to ride on my concepts, which I came up with 8 years ago, which we've honed, and like with the lethal electric fence that Sarah's suggesting, we've even worked out a design that would be very effective in keeping people out and not endangering them getting fried near the fence. But Donald Trump wants Mexico to pay for it. We want prison labor from our local prisons in the southern states that are currently illegal aliens that we're paying to warehouse every day. We want them to work at the border and then go back to their home. Basically deport them after they're done with their time, and they'll have a little pocket money to go with them and a backpack. Donald Trump doesn't have a plan. He just wants to use our idea and manipulate the foreign and U.S. domestic press in his favor all the time. He's a complete demagogue, and he'll do anything he can. He's like Barack Obama, the white version of Barack Obama, except Donald's even worse because he's actually doesn't mind sticking his foot in his mouth all the time. He enjoys it. He doesn't seem to have any self-awareness either. Threatening to sue people that say bad things about him. He's never really read federal election law and how slander suits don't hold up with public figures. The guy is ostensibly illiterate. If he's relying on his lawyers to sue everybody in sight and he doesn't care, this is the kind of guy that'll steamroll his policies like Adolf Hitler did. The last kind of person we need in the White House. You got the munchies? I'm going to go ahead and take a little break, warm up my coffee, and finish off.
Feed the cat.
You know, he can't sue people for slander unless they're willfully trying to ruin his business. If he can prove they're trying to ruin his business, but running for office is your public figure, and you're going to be attacked on all sides.
I believe Mexico does have helicopters, and sometimes we let them borrow helicopters as well. All right. Americans threaten to move to Canada if Obama accepts 10,000 refugees. Maybe they'll slip in as one of the 25,000 refugees that Syrians that Canada is accepting. So true. That's so hilarious. Yes, people can sue anyone for anything. Winning is another thing. Spooning is another thing. Cuddling is another thing. Well, you, me, and all the other chatters, 58965. Sorry, I think I was seeing mixed up. Anyway. Reality. Who wants to live in reality when you can live in virtual, beautiful land? Anyway. You're in the legal field, and what? Oh, yes, people can sue anybody for anything, yes. Oh, you're in the legal field. Are you a lawyer, Texas PD? No, I don't smoke. I don't toke. I don't do any of that. I know there's always this stupid marijuana leaf on my thing, but I can't seem to get rid of it. Because David always puts it up there. Here, I can finally get rid of it. Yay! Much better. You'd have thought I was smarter than this. I just appear like a Stepford wife because I'm always supporting David.
So we've really been enjoying video on demand. We don't have cable TV, so we get Netflix and Amazon Prime.
Netflix is pretty awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Some motorized picnic tables. What's this? In Australia?
Rogue picnic tables menace the streets of Australia. Wow. Officers think this behavior is a few sandwiches short of a picnic.
Ha 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 ha. All the puns.
You should hang out and blog on this site. She loves puns.
I do love puns. They're kind of funny. But the reason I like puns is it all goes back to my grandfather. He wrote this whole book about puns.
Yeah.
My grandfather did.
Pundemonium.
Like, the weirdest puns, ever.
Wanted Australian bros who drove tables while drinking. These are mobile tables?
They're obviously mobile tables. They've got wheels.
Australian police are on the lookout for a group of fellas who are charged with drinking and driving. You might be able to recognize them because they were driving a table. The Mythbusters guys might be looking for them too. Hey everybody, I'm Patrick Jones. Welcome to Buzz 60.
God, what is this guy doing?
He's buzzed.
It's I'm doing speed and drinking and slurring my words at the same time.
Yeah, he was on. That guy was on drugs. Don't you think he was on drugs?
He was on something, that's for sure.
I think. Thank you so much, 694. You're so kind. Sarah's cute. I'm just here. You still have that Trump wig, Sarah? Trump. That whole show we did for Halloween was fun. It was a great show. If you guys check it out in our archive, the Halloween show, Sarah dressed up like 4 different people, and she was stunning. Her makeup, everything. Phenomenal show. If you get a chance to see our 3-hour rendition for Halloween. Hey, Sarah. 1,111 carat diamond found. How did that work? Did it work?
I didn't.
Oh, it's still there? Okay.
I haven't been wearing it.
Gosh, oh my gosh. Diamonds are a lot more prevalent than you realize. The biggest diamond found in over a century adds $150 million to a mining company's value. Wow. Let's check this out. Diamond mines are regulated by our government and De Beers. De Beers, the diamond company, they realized the diamonds were prevalent, so they created a kind of like a...
So they bought up all the land where all the diamonds are found in the U.S., and then they started saying, diamonds are very rare.
Yeah. Wow, that's quite a diamond. That's $1 million?
It's huge.
Okay, I guess it is, but it looks to me like I've got one of those in my closet. Maybe I should cash in on it.
Whoa.
I'm just kidding. I have, that's huge. That's a massive diamond. So it is a real diamond, folks. So if you have an agate in your closet like I do, that's not the real thing. That's the real thing. I had a couple of old agates and I got from a long time ago, family. And I brought it into a diamond store and said, yeah, that's a quartz agate, sir, or something.
How do you marry women? How do you get married if you can't stand a woman for more than a month? You're like, oh, it's 2 days. I really like you. Let's get married. It's a month later. I want a divorce.
Who does that?
I don't know.
I bet a lot of people do. Seriously, 2 months marriage and then they get a divorce. I wonder if a lot of people have done it. Have any of you gotten divorced after 2 months?
Oh, I don't know.
We'll find out in just a second because I'm too busy looking at something.
People likes looking at.
I have to show you. No, just one thing. It's just somebody said, "Could you show me Obama's ring?" And it just jogged my memory that I wanted to show them what his ring looked like. There's his ring. Obama's ring. He wore it before he met Michelle.
Now, well, that makes sense. I would say not. When you're older, you're like, no, I don't have time for this. I've already been through however many wives, so you just date the women and then move on.
Well, that's assuming they are women. Now, what if they're transgender and you find that out later in the relationship? How does that work?
Well, then you have some interesting conversation with somebody.
We all could have a very interesting conversation. I've never met a transgender, except I met a transsexual in Hollywood, and I was quite shocked that they were so frustrated being in that body. This guy was so frustrated being in that he wanted to have a sex change operation, and I guess they run people through a battery of tests to determine. But why should our government pay for transgender sex operations? That's what Barack Obama is suggesting. 12,000 transgenders in our military should get their sex change done by our military at a cost of $1 billion. You served the papers on all three? Well, every divorce you served? You served the papers on your own divorces. What are you, an officer of the law, Texas PD?
One is still clingy to you. Man, and how does that alimony work? Like, were you smart enough at the time to actually do what are those called? Yeah, since you're in the legal field, did you have the contract that you sign before you get married? Yes, I do know what it's called, but I can't think of it right now.
Prenup. Yeah.
Prenuptial agreement.
Thank you.
Meow TV2. You always come to my rescue.
You know, I'm a little concerned. There was studies done on Obama's ring, and they found out that it's an Islamic expression on there. It's a common ring in the Middle East. It says that Allah is the one and only God. Now, the debunkers say, oh no, that's not. It's just a snake. Well, either way, you've got a president who's either wearing a snake on his ring finger, on his wedding ring finger, or he's wearing a statement that says that Allah is the one and only God on his ring finger. Either way, we've got a problem.
You don't like chocolate?
Just so you know. Yeah, I know that. But they believe that Allah is the one and only God. It kind of cancels out the Christian faith. Dingo. Yeah. He did go to a madrasa for 4 years. Barack Obama went to a madrasa when he was a child. From 7 to 11, I believe. And then he was farmed off to Frank Marshall Davis, the known communist, where he lived with him. And also William Ayers. He took care of Barack Obama in his youth. We found this out through various channels. It took forever because everything about Obama has been secretly hidden. So we'll never ever find out anything we can about his records from Columbia or Harvard. All of that is protected under executive privilege. Now, if we charge him with a crime, like fraud, then all of it's potentially open to review. So you never know what's going to happen in 2017. Things could get a little strange, going after the perpetrator of this treasonous act of allowing Syrian refugees to come into our country recklessly. And all these Democrats in every Democratic state wanting that. And the American people going, what are you doing? That's why I'm thinking of running for governor while I'm running for president around the country. I can run for governor and not run for president in Washington and challenge this governor who's completely off his rocker, allowing Syrians to come into our country recklessly like that.
Good point, Drag King.
Now take a look at Circle Cookies Are Over. Oreo churros are here to change the dessert game. You never thought this was possible, but with a large growing number of Hispanics in America, this is now a major possible hit.
So you cook it in the microwave?
I don't know.
It looks like it because it says ready in minutes.
It looks pretty good. Circles, it seems that the iconic black and white Oreo cookie is getting an enticing twist with the release of cream-filled Oreo churros and the Oreo churros cream-filled bites. Reps confirmed to Mashable Thursday. Thank you. Great. Looks like dog crap.
Why don't you what? 4755. Why don't who are you talking to?
The stories are just getting better and better. Thanks for looking for links, Scissor Fight and Pacific. Thank you for helping with links. Muslim Marine masterfully bashes Trump by posting his military ID badge. There you go.
I didn't know Indonesia has the world's 4th largest education system.
Big time, yeah. It's a big... Okay, let me clear out of some links here. I'm getting a little bit too big with the picnic tables from Australia.
Not. You can close that.
Yeah, I don't really kind of give credence to propaganda. But yeah, a Muslim Marine, this is from rawstory.com, a Muslim Marine has posted his military ID badge. Where's yours? Yeah. Here Donald Trump has never...
Chat room.
Yes, sorry.
Possibly.
Donald Trump has never served in the military, right? And he basically condemned John McCain, said he wasn't a hero even though he spent time in a POW camp, which is interesting. And now a Muslim Marine has masterfully bashed Trump by posting his military ID badge, saying, where's yours? See, basically, Donald Trump has a tendency of attacking people left and right. And he got stuck in this attack on the Muslims because he really wants to, deport all of them, even though they're naturalized citizens, many of them, which turns him into like a Hitler-esque character, Donald Trump. And nobody wants Hitler. Indonesian schools are lousy. You want to read that? My mouth is starting to freeze.
Oh, why am I reading it?
The new administration wants to fix
Just
them.
go down. Go down. I've already read all that.
Okay, there's no story here. Somebody sent us a picture of a no-story discussion on Indonesian schools.
Oh, very simple concepts. I'll tell you some simple concepts.
What do you mean, why don't you guys get simple concepts? What's
Wait.
your simple concept? Explain your simple concept and then stop your accusations.
Oh.
John McCain has got some issues. He's
get as in understand or get as in promote?
Okay. Basically, Marco Rubio is playing hardball. We need to close. He says we need to close anywhere Muslims go. Now, you can tell when this is the screen that Gawker puts up that Marco Rubio is not their favorite guy. Now, Gawker's been going after me too, claiming statements that they've got a whole article on me.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Well, they claim that I believe that Michelle is a transgender, and
well,
I do. I do believe that. I do believe that she's a transgender. I believe that Joan Rivers was right when she said that she was a transgender. Anyway, Marco Rubio, in an interview with Megyn Kelly last night, who was ostensibly trying to shut down Trump's call in for a Fourth Reich, instead declared that if we truly want to be safe, America needs to shut down pretty much everything. Now, a guy with eyes like that wants to become president.
It's kind of how my eyes are at the end of a long week.
Do we want to put the fate of our country in the hands of this guy? I mean, really? And how much AIPAC money has he gotten? I don't know. There's so many Zionists running, and it's just like, what is their end game? Attack every Muslim in America and somehow hate on everybody? We've got problems, I admit, but in no way should we start reacting like a bunch of reactionaries. Yeah, thank you. Goes back to Abraham. Hello, Igami Kenzo from Japan. Hello. Welcome to the show. Thank you, Gus 462.
I think I'm going to say goodnight to everyone, and I will be back on tomorrow.
Oh, I know. She wants another night off. You'll only have to do 2 15-minute sessions. I'll handle it. I'm the guy who keeps the show expanded out 4 hours a night, every day except Sunday.
I was going to say I'll be back on Monday, but tomorrow?
I know. She's been saying, cut the Saturday show, Dave, shrink the show down.
Whatever.
I'm the guy who's been behind this. The guy you may want to call a name. I'm the guy who keeps this ball rolling every night for you guys to choose this. I'm not a nut. I have no mental illness at all in my life. For you to call me a nut is outrageous. It's almost like the libel of Rolling Stone when they said I was a bizarre fringe candidate. Thanks, Sarah. That was awesome. They love you. I mean, how can anyone call me a bizarre fringe candidate? I mean, it's absurd. I'm Mr. Conservative. I'm actually prudish. I've never said the F word. I've never said a racial slur in my life. And all they did was target me because of a simple video that I made back in 2008 that none of these people even understand. In 2008, I did what I had to do to make people aware that I think that Barack Obama is and was a flim-flam artist, lying to the American people daily and using his blackness as cover for real questions and real political discourse. So I came up with broken St. Obamas. So everybody's been attacking me because of this video I did, which happens to be an international raving success. Nothing to be ashamed of there. All right, I guess we've reached the end of our show. Thank you for coming in. Tomorrow, libeling is a really harsh word, to say that I'm libeling people. I'm talking about the corporate pig we know as Donald Trump, which I have a right to call him a name, okay? The power monger Hillary Clinton, or I'll call her Hitlery, because she doesn't answer to anybody, including herself. And there's enough hidden information about her to pretty much finish her off in a public debate. It wouldn't take me long to level her in an open speaking environment where I can talk about her connections to all kinds of things, and even raise the specter of her doing payback to a known terrorist organization right after Benghazi, which has never been talked about publicly. Not to mention her relationship with the Lafarge Corporation, when they sold Saddam Hussein the chemical weapons used to kill 236,000 Kurds. She was on the board of directors at the Lafarge Corporation. Look it up. Not to mention countless other egregious crimes that have never been prosecuted. So yeah, no one's really played hardball with Hillary. Trey Gowdy was like sending Hillary out to go visit Cal Worthington in his dog Spot. If you want to go see Trey, go see Trey. If you want to go see Trey, go see Trey. Trey will cut you a deal, give you every single pre-screen question so you can stand there and deny everything. Cal is dead. He died 2 years ago. But no, Trey Gowdy just did not work her over the coals like he should have. I know, Cal died. You're so fixated, Pacific. I mean, do you look everything up in detail? When you go to the bathroom, do you check the name brand on your toilet paper to verify that it is properly designed to meet your suit? I mean, you're one of the most particular people I think I've ever had in the show. All right. This has been great. Thank you for coming in. People who sleep late are actually smarter and more creative. Thank you. I'm trying to get another 12 hours of sleep in a day, but I go to bed really late. But this is good news. Here I thought I wasn't the smartest guy around, now I know I am. Is there any worse feeling than waking up late? Whether it's your mom screaming for you to wake up or your iPhone buzzing you with messages from work, there's no worse way to experience the light of day than with a swelling pit at the bottom of your stomach that drops at the moment of consciousness. The worst part is you can't justify your actions. You want to tell your mom why you're so tired, because you stayed up till 2 a.m. reading the most fascinating book before teaching yourself how to illustrate using Adobe. But you know she'll stop you at 2 a.m. That's all she'll hear. She'll scold you for staying up late, threaten to take away your computer, and tell you to start going to bed earlier. Well, apparently you're a smart person. That's also why you're smarter. According to research published in the Huffington Post, those who deviate from the normal sleep schedule are considered more intelligent. This finding is supported by research suggesting that those who create new evolutionary patterns compared to those who stick in the normal patterns developed by our ancestors are the most progressive. That's right, I'm learning things in my sleep too. All right, great. That's been special. Roy Clark. Please play Can't Stop before you log off. Sure. It's a great song. Everybody loves it. I can stop, though. We have to turn it off. We're going to go watch some Netflix. I've got a really good show with, well, I don't want to get into details, but it's a good show we've been watching. It's about the inner workings of the CIA. It's called Blacklisted with James Spader. Okay, I want to thank all the people that want to go to a bus stop. All the people who came in here and who've accused me of bad things. I want to say you are wrong. And I'm not in any way a nutter as you're characterizing me. You just may not understand what I'm saying. And it takes you, the voter, to become more aware of what's going on so that you don't fall victim to this concept of groupthink that's being promoted on the internet and also in the mainstream media. We don't believe that this is a futile effort We believe that you can build a third party in America. We believe that people like Alex Jones are probably just directing you in an area where you think the world is, just collapsing around you and the sky's falling, but you can't do a damn thing to stop it. They teach that. It's predictive programming, and Alex Jones is probably a shill. The shot caller. I'm calling the shots. No, I'm not a nut at all. You're making a value judgment that is completely erroneous. You don't have a psychology degree, and even if you didn't, you'd probably tell me you did. I am going to say you're wrong. I don't just want to say it, I am going to say it. Brother Nathaniel videos are cool. Yep. I'd like to play a couple of his. He's got a really good one on the IMF. I'll play that right out of the chute here. After I play Can't Stop, Because You Won't Stop. We're going to dance all night till you just can't think anymore. And of course, we will be playing our battery of false flag videos. I didn't get a chance to really talk about one particular woman. I'll take a moment to talk about her. Let me just bring up a video I just made. Well, we'll have an interactive chat show in the White House every day for at least an hour, and except Sundays, because I take Sunday off. But we're going to talk to you guys for at least an hour and talk about the issues, and a lot of the issues that are pertinent, that I can talk about, that are released to talk about, we will be discussing. Obviously, there'll be top secret issues I can't talk about, and I'll have to tell you that when I'm president. But I will discuss. I have committed to the Full Disclosure Project, where if we do actually find out that aliens do exist, and I see real proof of it, I'll bring my cell phone and take pictures of the alien, and then I'll tell people about it. And I'll say for sure that we have aliens. But I don't right now believe that we have aliens on the planet. It's hard for me to believe that. We got some amazing things too tonight. I've got a speech by Paul Harvey that was done in 1965 called "If I Were the Devil," and it applies, ironically.
If I were the devil.
Thank you. It applies perfectly to Barack Obama and everything that's going on in our country right now. Now, if you guys remember Paul Harvey, thank you. The tie is awesome, isn't it? We're not going to actually interject psychology into our show, even though you may want to do that, because to me it hasn't been proven to be actual science. But thank you. You know Paul? Really? You know Paul Harvey? Well, thank him for me. I don't think he's still alive. Yeah, I don't know how you know him. And we have a guest chatter that's ruining guest chat for everybody. No, I will tell everybody everything. I will tell. I am going to kiss and tell, but I won't kiss an alien. But I do want to see one up close and personal, and I have to verify that it's not a robot. Yeah, because they can fake an alien. They can make a robot alien, and then they can say, "Yes, Mr. President, here it is. I am an alien robot." We have a bigger concern with artificial intelligence right now than we do with alien reptiles. But if you believe in alien reptiles, I like I said, I'll commit to that Full Disclosure Project, the CSETI program that Stephen Greer is involved in. I think that's awesome work that he's doing. Thank you, Stephen. All right, here we go.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night.
See you tomorrow for our anti-war rally.
We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night. Bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop. We can't stop.
Select people. In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
We can't stop.
vote for David Spawn High. America's Third Party.
If I were the Prince of Darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I'd set about however necessary